Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about...
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
English, mother...
Body, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Let's put a smile on that face.
What's up, film family? Welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. My name is Scott.
My name's Dion.
And today we're doing Inglourious Basterds, an absolute classic, one of Quentin Tarantino's, well, I was going to say one of his first movies, but that's a lie.
Yes.
This is our first time doing a Quentin Tarantino movie, and it's one of my favorites of his. I'm curious, is this like high on your list as well?
Yeah, it is high. And you know what's funny? Initially, when I was writing down like my thoughts and like how I felt about this movie, I was like, "What to say?" It's my second favorite. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I don't even want to rank them, so I just stopped because it's just like, what's the point? I do think Pulp Fiction is my favorite because I think that's the first Tarantino movie I saw, so it just holds that where I was like, oh shit, this movie is really good. Who is this guy? And then you kind of go through the catalog. So that will probably just be like my number one. But I don't really feel like ranking the other ones. But it's definitely up there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because I was like, knew we were coming on the podcast. I was like, I know it's up there for me. I was thinking about where I would maybe place it, and if I would ask you, like, should we do a ranking or but normally I don't really like rankings in general, like, because I find, especially with when you bounce around different genres and stuff, because like he's a guy that like he's seen so many movies, and then he's just like, oh, I want to make one of those, like a spaghetti western, like a Django movie. He's like, oh, I want to do that and try it. And then like a Kill Bill, like a slasher, and like there's all these different kinds of movies that he just wants to try. So like when you're comparing different genres and stuff, I feel like it's just apples to oranges, and it's just it's so hard to like rank.
No,
like you 100%. Have I like these, and you could like this one a little bit better maybe, but like to rank them like one through whatever is tough.
No, I completely agree. And like Nolan's movies are a little more closer to home in that sense, but like it's like, can you compare Oppenheimer to The Dark Knight? They're like, it's like completely different kind of movie. It feels weird even talking about them in like the same, because one's like a biopic and then one's a superhero movie. So it's like, it's a weird comparison. So like, with the Tarantino's, it's very similar with that too, where it's like, it's hard to, because he calls his movie black comedies because like they all have a little bit of humor. They all have humor to them. Like every single movie's got humor to them. But it's funny because you wouldn't just be like, he makes comedy movies, because there's just so much going on besides the comedy.
There's a lot going on. A lot going on.
Yeah, but the common theme is always comedy. So it's funny how it kind of is. That is kind of like the genre he sticks in. There's always some kind of humor.
Well, I feel like that's kind of his like his, what's the word I'm looking for? Like his flavor kind of that he puts on it, like his twist. So, you know, like he tries these different types of movies and he does different things, but he puts his own little twist on it, his flavor, like I said, and that's probably that kind of comedy. And it's not always just jokes, but it's like the way that he writes the characters and the way they talk, and sometimes just the way things happen in scenes is kind of funny. Like it's not just writing jokes into movies, which is cool.
Sure. Yeah. But no, it's true. No, it's a good point. It's definitely very like stylized. But how was it for you? Like your rewatch? Like what was the last time you watched the movie?
That's a good question. It's been a couple years for sure. It's been a little while, but I really like it. And this is my birthday is coming up later this week, and Dion graciously allowed me to pick the movie without no voting or anything. This is my decision, so that's why I picked Inglourious Basterds. And you said it was a good decision. Like I know we're both big Tarantino guys, but no, I love this movie, dude. Like the story is so convoluted and crazy, but it all works and comes together so great. And that's what I think. Like that's what I like most about Tarantino. I think like the whole multiple storylines thing, and then how it all comes together at the end of the movie. Like he does that better than anybody, I feel like. And like Pulp Fiction is a great example of that. Like there's the Bruce Willis side of the story, then there's Samuel Jackson and what's the, I'm picturing him as Ed. What's the actor with Samuel
Bruce Willis?
Jackson? No,
the
the other hitman. What's his
Oh
name?
wow! Now we're both blanking on your.
Yo, that's
That's
crazy. We're
crazy.
both blanking on this guy. Travolta, John Travolta.
Travolta, yeah, John
Yeah,
Travolta.
okay.
Whoa, damn.
I'm not cutting that out
Yeah, no,
because
yeah, we can't cut it out. Yeah,
yeah, we gotta wear it. But yeah,
yeah.
but all these multiple storylines and it all comes together at the end of the movie. Like he does this so well. And in this movie, it's
Mhm.
the same thing. You have the Shoshana side of the story and Hans Landa, and then you have the bastards, and then the way they comes together is so good.
Yeah, no, it is really good. It's yeah, the way everything intertwines is done so well, and it just comes from his writing background, right? Because he's so much of a writer. I mean, there's a lot of writer director, uh, well, writer director directors, but
Yeah.
I know his style of writing is just so unique in itself, where it's just like he just really writing it from this concept of like this is my well, like his whatever he's imagining in his head, because that's the one thing I was gonna say, and not to like to. Did you see his thing that he said about like Dune? Now that we're on the topic of it, actually.
No, I didn't.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, he was saying how he doesn't want to watch like Denis' version of
Mm.
Dune, his adaptation, because he already watched what's it called? I think it was David Lynch that directed the original one, like in 1984. And he's like, he's like, I don't want to really watch the new Denis one because I've already seen them. Like, I don't really like watching remakes and those kind of things, which I thought it's kind of funny because Inglorious Basterds, I don't know if you knew, is like not a remake, but there was already a new Inglorious Basterds movie, and it's like
Yeah.
this is his adaptation of it, and what Denis did with Dune is his adaptation. So like it's kind of funny how he said that recently about Dune, like he didn't just do that with Inglourious Basterds, because it's the same concept. It's dudes go in occupied France with Germans and stuff, and there's being kick ass, obviously not the exact same characters and names and everything, but it's his adaptation. And like Denis' adaptation of Dune is not the same thing as the other one, so I thought it was an interesting take to say that.
It's really weird that he is like a giant movie guy like him. Like, why not? Like,
Yeah.
sure, if you're like, I don't like remakes in general, honestly, I agree with them. A lot of the
Mhm.
times when stuff is remade, it's not done well,
Yeah.
or maybe not necessarily not done well, but not
Doesn't
as
hold
good
up.
as the original.
Yeah.
So normally I would agree with him, but like you have so many people in the movie community that say these movies are good,
Yeah.
and you watch a gajillion movies. Why not? Like, what's the harm?
I don't know. I just thought that was a funny take, especially when you picked this movie. It made me realize it's like, oh yeah, like Inglourious Basterds, and I've never seen the original one, so I can't speak on it.
Yeah, me neither.
But I haven't watched this movie in a long time too. But I actually specifically remember when I watched it. It was back during COVID because that's when I went on my. Because have you seen every Tarantino movie or no?
No,
No,
nope.
okay. I during COVID, after I watched Pulp Fiction again for the second time, is when I realized I was like, I haven't seen all his movies. So then I just decided just to because Eloise got me like a Tarantino book when this is
Oh,
actually
okay.
when we first started dating too. Actually, she heard I liked movies and she got me like a Tarantino book. So I started reading it and I stopped reading because I was like I haven't seen some of these movies. So I was like, let me watch all the
Oh,
movies so the
okay.
book
Yeah,
makes sense. And then I watched
yeah.
all his movies during COVID and I was like, oh shit, except one of them. There's one movie I haven't seen that because not everything because he wrote a bunch of movies, but not all of them he directed. I don't know if you knew that,
Yes, yeah.
like it's True Romance and Natural Born Killers. He just sold those scripts and then other directors directed them. And
Okay.
then there was one other movie called Four Rooms, and that's the one I haven't seen. He
Oh,
didn't
okay.
direct it, but he wrote for it. So
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
I want to see all of his movies. I'm a big fan of his. Like I've seen the only ones. Well, I've seen this one, Once
Mhm.
Upon a Time in Hollywood, Pulp Fiction, Django, Hateful Eight, and I think that's it. Like I haven't seen either Kill
You
Bill
haven't seen the Kill
movies.
Bills? Oh
No, I
shit.
haven't seen the
Okay.
Kill
Oh,
Bills.
that's sick. So we'll definitely gotta do that for the show then.
Yeah. No, I've heard a lot of good things. I just never got
Yeah.
around to it. I mean, there's tons of movies that I've heard lots of good stuff about and just haven't got around to watching. So, no, I'm excited to do those for sure. But
Jackie
uh,
Brown's another good one too. It's an
yeah,
underrated one. That's the underrated one.
no, and that's what else is there? I think that's pretty
Death
much it.
Proof. Death
Okay,
Proof.
haven't seen that.
I think that's the only other one that you named because he's only done a 9.
Right.
So
Yeah, and apparently he said he wants to do like one more and then he's done.
yeah, he
Or
said 10 is his last film. He said,
why?
I don't know. He's too stuck on the perfection thing, and all the. It's funny because I've seen all the other directors be like, yo, like Ridley, and Denny and all of them. They're like, oh, what do you think about Tarantino making his last film? They're all like, man, just shut up and
Fuck
make some
that guy.
movies, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
just shut up and make movies, bro. Ridley's like, I'm making this movie. I'm freaking did Napoleon. I'm about to make another movie in 2 years. Nolan's making movies like every 2 years. They're just like, I don't know why this guy just wants to have like a perfect 10. Just make movies, bro. Like you're like just over 50. Freaking what's his name? Clint Eastwood's 90 making a movie right now. Like
Yeah,
why?
Scorsese's made like 80 movies.
That's what
And
I'm
like,
saying.
yeah, I don't know why he's like this.
I don't know. And he completely scrapped what he was doing because initially there was a movie called I forgot the name of the title, but he already cast like Brad Pitt and like two other, and he started casting people, and it's supposed to be about like this guy that was like a reviewer. He reviewed porn movies. That was the
Okay.
concept of the movie. And then he just scrapped it and said, nah, that's not what I do for my last movie. And I'm just like, okay.
Well,
So
maybe
now
he'll bring it back after the 10th. That'll be his
maybe
11th movie.
maybe, but right now he's just like, I gotta figure something else to be my last movie. I'm like, now you're putting too much hype around it.
Yeah,
That's the issue with it. But I'm sure it'll still be
true.
great. I'm sure it'll still be great. But
Yeah, no, it'll be good for sure. But
yeah,
back to Inglourious Bastards.
yeah,
So one of the things that I really like about this movie is that it's so unpredictable.
yeah,
Like the story, like the when you different moments in the story, right? Like yeah, when Hans like loses it and kills Van von Hammersmark, Bridget,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
actress.
yeah, man.
Like Hans the whole way up leading up to the movie, he never like lost his cool or did anything like uncalculated. So when he did that, I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And you know, when he flipped on the Nazis, didn't see that coming. The shootout in the basement, like Shoshana and Frederick,
Yeah,
when he comes up at the end of the movie into the
yeah.
theater and they have their shootout, like all these things that is just so unpredictable. And that's another thing that from this movie that I think is really good.
No, it's funny. It's funny you wrote that. Just exactly what I put too. Like I was before you said that, I was about to say
Wow.
that's one of the parts I really like about the movie too. Like how it's just so unpredictable. And I think that's another one of his talents with his writing, where it's like he'll lead you on like maybe what the trope is gonna be, and then he'll do the exact opposite thing. Like he knows, again, he's watched so many movies and probably read so many books. He knows like these are the things that people expect now, and I'm just gonna go somewhere that they're just not gonna see this coming. Like
Yeah, that's so hard to do though. Like there's a reason that these things happen, like these tropes happen, is because it's just a clear path forward and it
mhm,
just makes sense. So like to kind of you have to kind of like rewire your brain into going away from that. You know, like I think when you've seen so many other things and you write yourself into this, I don't want to say corner, but you write yourself
yeah,
leading into something, it's really hard to like totally flip and do something completely different. But I think when he comes up with these stories and he he writes the characters so interestingly and he kind of lets the characters tell the stories to him. Like I've read that he develops his story, like he develops his characters first and then kind of the stories
yeah.
come from that. So like I think that's an interesting way of writing if you think about it. Like it kind of helps in that sense of not writing yourself into these cliches because you can just ask yourself what would the character do in this situation and think about maybe a few different options and then kind of go from there. But I don't know, it's just like you said, it's a talent of his and it's really interesting that he's so good at this.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he really is. And yeah, to the point of like writing the characters first and then just like building the whole world around it. It is interesting to like to think like you're in the mind of like what would this guy do? Like I have all his traits and how he acts. Like does it make sense that he would act like that? Or it's like and then like if they do act like that, how do I explain it? Is like it
Mm,
like you explaining the twist and stuff like that or like because he talks about how, like even the fact that like Brad Pitt like Aldo's character has like that scar. He's like, I
yeah.
wrote a whole story on how he got that scar and everything, and it's like it's not, it never got to the movie, but it didn't need to. As long as it made sense to me, and like this is what my character has, this is a specific thing he has, and he's just now I'm putting them all together. But they all had their own lives before, but now I'm putting them all together. Like I'm sure, like even Shoshana probably has a whole her and her family, like the getting into the house and everything. He probably wrote that
Mm,
too.
true. Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about that, but you're probably right. I mean, I did read about like the scar, like you said, and how basically all the bastards they would have like in the original script or his original idea, it was that each bastard they basically escape an execution, and that's
Mhm.
how they all come together, and then they work on the revenge against the Third Reich. So that, I guess, would have been his, he would have been hanged and somehow escaped from that. So that's how he
Mm.
wrote it. But I don't know. It's just so interesting. Like, who does that? Who else does
Yeah.
that for movies? It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It is crazy. And I think another thing too that's because this is obviously it's an American Hollywood film, but I remember I checked online because it wasn't until this moment, like until I rewatched it, when I kind of thought about how like on Google it says that only 72 or it's not sorry, it's not 72 or 42% of the movie was spoken in English. So more than half the movie is not spoken in English. And this is an American film. You know what I mean? Like usually you get that kind of digression when it's like a foreign film. This is an
Yeah.
American director making an American film, and everyone came out in droves because like we talk about how like all people don't want to watch like South Korean movie because of subtitles and stuff. But like a Tarantino movie, people are just gonna watch it regardless. They're not even gonna like, oh, majority of the movie's not even in English. Whatever, it's Tarantino. I'm gonna watch it. Not a lot of directors I feel like could do that.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I don't think they would have known necessarily before going into the theater.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I don't remember what the trailers were like. I think when
Yeah.
the movie came out, we were pretty young, so I don't even know if we were checking
Well,
trailers.
2009 is when it came out, so we would have been 13.
Yeah, so we weren't checking for it like that.
No, because I
We,
didn't see it in theaters.
yeah, we don't. I think we would be able to get in. Wasn't it like 18?
That's true.
Yeah, or even if it was 14, we still can't get in.
Yeah, no, you're right. We probably wouldn't have been. Yeah, you're right. We wouldn't have even been able to get in.
Yeah, so I don't know if the trailers had like different languages in them, but
Probably
no,
a little bit, but I
maybe.
mean, it's not like seeing a trailer. You maybe wouldn't assume that so much of it would have been in a different language. And
Yeah.
Tarantino had so much weight and hype around his name, anyways, that people were going to go watch this regardless.
No, 100%. And like just based like we watched Gladiator, and it's like it's interesting to think because like they're just speaking English, you know what I mean? Like no one's speaking in different languages in that movie, and like that's some people's like thoughts like into that. And then we watch like a movie like this, and it's like, which again, I don't personally think that if you make a movie in a different place, especially if you're gonna make it for an American audience, I'm not gonna watch and be like, oh, why aren't they speaking in French? Why aren't they speaking Italian? I'm like, I'll just
Yeah.
accept it because I know this was made for Hollywood. This is made in Hollywood. This isn't like a foreign film, so I'm not expecting it to be. That's why I just find it interesting how so much of this is not in English.
That's actually a really good point too, because if you think about it, like he took so many liberties on history, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not how World War II ended.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like
Yeah.
there was not these bastards in there and they blew up a movie theater with
Yeah.
Hitler, and like this is not how the war ended.
No,
This is not what
exactly.
happened. So he took liberties in that. So he definitely could have had all these characters speaking English,
Mhm.
and it just would have been another artistic liberty that he took, but
Yeah.
he decided not to. I wonder what the reasoning is behind that, but I never really thought about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's because, well, no, I don't think anyone ever was entering the movie thinking that this is going to be very historically accurate.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was expecting that. But maybe he kind of wanted to feel, because like the movie feels authentic, and like a lot of his movies always have like authenticity to them, and then they have like his blend of like fake, like he'll have the blend of fiction and then the authenticity, sorry, and then he'll kind of put his own spin on things where it's just like, well, he put all this effort into it. I don't care what he does. He's like, I don't know. Maybe there is someone that was upset the way they did. You're probably just not fun at parties.
I'm sure there was some. I'm sure there was people. No matter what you do, there's gonna
Yeah.
be people upset regardless. So I'm
100%.
sure there was some people, but yeah. So should we jump right? So I mean,
Yeah.
like the opening scene, just in general, like it's unequivocally a great opening scene. You know, it's in the Hall of Fame of opening scenes if there was to be some. And I wrote a couple down, and I was curious, like I Googled it, to be fair, like best opening scenes.
Okay, yeah.
And out of the ones that I've seen, you know, like Dark Knight, Saving Private Ryan, those are
Yeah.
some of the big ones that popped out at me. But are there any other opening scenes that like you think are all timers?
I think the opening of Scream is pretty crazy.
That was on the list, but I haven't
Yeah?
seen it.
Okay, yeah. So I don't even want to say then. I
Yeah.
can't even really explain it why it's good. It's a good opening, but it's a good opening for anyone that's seen it knows why it's a good opening. And this one is good too. Like I think anytime like there's any kind of like shock value or like some kind of critical plot point that happens right in the beginning, usually you're not expecting that. Usually expecting just like the movies are kind of like you're slowly getting into it. You see like a character maybe getting dressed or whatever, saying goodbye to their wife, you know, starting their day. For it's something that's to go right into like bang, like, oh shit, like this is getting like we're getting right into it. It's
Yeah.
this movie's definitely up there.
Yeah, but this one, like I feel like if you think of that as like a set piece, where so like Dark Knight
Hmm.
or Saving Private Ryan, either of those, like are they're, I mean, Saving Private Ryan is a big set piece,
Yeah.
but Dark Knight has the bank robbery, right? So it's exciting. It's
Hmm.
not just, it's cool for the reveal of Joker,
Hmm.
and like all that is great, but it also has like the action of the bank
Yeah.
robbery. Whereas this one, there's like the flip, right? When we realize that the Jews are hiding underneath the floor,
Hmm.
right? Because like what's so cool about the scene is like when Hans pulls up and he's talking to the farmer, and he's so like casual and warm, and he's just asking for milk and super polite and
Yeah.
asks a couple questions, and then he just like flips on a dime, and it's like, holy shit, no, this guy's a
Yeah.
psycho. It's so good, dude.
No, it is really good. It's funny too because I remember I made the weird connection when I was talking to Eloise, and then she sent me this video because it was like this whole video that was talking about how like milk is evil, and I was like, milk is evil. I'm like, it's interesting. And then
Okay.
I started watching the video, and they showed all the parallels. I'm like, the first person that came to mind was Homelander because Homelander has an
Oh, okay.
obsession with milk, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
this opening scene where he's drinking milk in Clockwork Orange, like all the crazy dudes in that they're drinking milk, and then
Mhm.
in Get Out. Rose, like after spoilers for anybody, you skip ahead
Oh, yeah.
at the end when she finally flips, you just see her drinking milk. I don't know why it's used in cinema as like this parallel for some reason of like milk. I don't think it's like the innocence of milk mixed with the person being bad. Because when I think of milk, I think of kids. You know what I mean? Like when you're at
Yeah.
school. Did you go to school when you went to did you go to school when you went
I did go to school, yes.
did you get like the little milk carton things? Did your school do that?
Yeah, we did it. I mean, I didn't get it. I
I
didn't
didn't
get
get
the
milk
daily
either.
milk, but I was actually the kid that like handed it out. Like
Oh
I was
really?
well, the way it worked in our school, we had like a milk room. We called it a
Okay,
milk
yeah.
room.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
at lunch, I would be in the milk room. I mean, it was basically just a place to hang out.
Yeah.
So I would be in the milk room, and I'd put like in each bin, each classroom would have like a bin, and you put this many white milk, this many chocolate milk, whatever, and then
Yeah.
everyone would come get it. So I never got the milk, but you're right. I mean, the innocence of milk, and it's white too. I think just like
Yeah.
the purity of it.
No, for sure.
That's an interesting idea. You're probably right that it is like the purity of milk, like that's the opposite of the evil of the
Yeah.
character.
Like there's a whole video on like anyone wants to check it out if you want to check it out either. Like the YouTuber's name is Mia Lee and she made a whole video on it's like a 30-minute video. So if you want to like watch it in parts, she got it in chapters like this too. She has it in chapters. So it's interesting watch because like I never thought about it. And then like just finished watching The Boys and then immediately see this guy drinking milk. I'm like, oh maybe there is something here.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Did you notice like right at the start of the movie, there's like because there's the different chapter cards, right?
Yeah.
And the first one, chapter one, says "Once upon a time in Nazi occupied France."
Hmm.
Did you know that that was originally like kind of what he wanted to name the movie? Like Once Upon a Time
Oh
in
really?
Hollywood that he made later,
Yeah.
right? Because he had this idea. It was like, oh, I like the whole Once Upon a Time in a
Yeah.
location,
Hmm.
like that idea for a title. And he thought about doing it for this one. He just threw it as the name card and changed it when he saw that like the old movie or the book that it's
Yeah.
kind of loosely based on.
Hmm.
But no, that was something that I knew. So when I saw this, it popped in my head. I was like, oh shoot, he at least worked it in a little bit.
Oh shit, I didn't even realize that. You know, that kind of makes sense too because he's friends with I forget the dude's name, the dude that directed like Sin City. But like he's like a close friends with him, like his director, and he'd made a movie called Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Mm.
And like apparent and like that movie and he apparently he wrote the script for started writing the script for like 10 years before this movie came out. And that was around the time. So he probably saw him like, oh man, he made a Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I gotta make my own Once Upon a Time too. but
Yeah.
then he ended up changing it, which is interesting. It's still a good title regardless.
Yeah, but then he came back around for it for
Yeah,
Once a Time
exactly.
in Hollywood.
Yeah,
So
that's true. I actually didn't know that though. That's interesting though, that he was gonna have it as that.
yeah, I mean, it's funny that some directors and they're a little more reserved. Like they don't do too many interviews or stuff. Like only
Yeah.
when they're promoting a movie.
Mhm.
This guy nonstop is just out like talking to people.
Oh yeah.
So like there's so many like facts and interesting things that we learn about him just because he's always out talking to people.
Oh
So
yeah,
little stuff
100%.
like that is cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, did you notice as well? Like, well, obviously you noticed, but in this opening scene, still
Mhm.
when the farmer, he pulls out his pipe, right? He starts smoking, and then when Hans is like, "Oh, can I pull out my pipe?" and he
Yeah.
pulls out this massive
Yeah.
fucking like record player of a
Yeah.
pipe. I was like, is this him just like flexing on this guy, or
Yeah.
is he like flexing his power on him, like
Mhm.
saying, like I'm still in charge, even though this is your house, because he's being nice to him,
Yeah.
but he just needed to do this little thing just to remind him that he's in charge.
100% it was a flex. 100%.
Okay,
It's kind of funny though. Like he planned on flexing on him regardless. Like, why did he bring that pipe with him? Like,
that's his pipe.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the only time we ever see him use it though. But
Yeah, that's true.
he just brings out the flex. Every house he goes to, he brings out the pipe because he knows no one's got a pipe like that.
Yeah,
No diddy.
no doubt. Whoa, that's crazy.
It's a different movie. It's a different cut.
That's gonna. Well, that's the porn. That's the porn.
Oh
critic
yeah.
movie. Hans Landa's pipe is gonna be on that one.
God.
Then there's the reveal that Shoshana and her family are under
Under.
the floor.
Mm.
And do you remember like the first time you saw this? Did you expect this, or
Oh no. Like that definitely got me. I figured there was something like going on. Like I assumed what the way the scene was gonna go. I'm like the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, maybe they're hiding in a closet or something. And then like after he leaves, he'll be like, oh, that was a close one, kind of thing.
Mm.
So then once it did like the slow, and I like how they did that too. That's like it made it a tenseful to bring that a throwback.
Oh
to-
yeah, there you go.
But yeah, just to show them show them like he's right under your feet, and then they go back up, and then we sit with that. So now the audience knows it's like, oh shit. Now we know everything he's saying. Like we know what his intentions are. So like that gets you like leaning forward in your seat.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. That it was an interesting time for the reveal. Like
Mhm.
it could have been they don't reveal that at all.
Yeah.
And when he says that line, that iconic line, you're sheltering enemies of the state, are you not?
Yeah.
And then that could be the reveal for the audience. But he chooses to do it beforehand so that we get a couple minutes of their conversation where we know, but we don't know that he knows. So
Yeah.
like it just creates that tension, and you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
sweating bullets like the whole time. And then his face, like I said, he was happy and warm, and then his face just like drops and flips.
Yeah.
And then he's like, nah, you got Jews here, don't you? I know it. And where
Yeah.
are they? And oh my God, when he just takes control, it's nasty.
Oh no, it's so good. It's that ticking time bomb thing. It's like you see it in like action movies, and like there's a I can't remember the Hitchcock movie it was, but it's just, I mean, you could literally just call it. It's like anytime there's a movie where there's like a bomb's about to go off in like a
Mhm.
minute, so then everything's just tense. Everything that's going on, like people running around, and that's literally what that was. We didn't get a timer, but we knew something was happening. It's like, okay, he's asking the questions. We don't really know if he knows. We can't tell because we're just meeting this character, and it's like, does he already know, or is he just prying, trying to see him like slip? And the guy folded, but I mean, in the end, I think
in his defense, he just spent like a couple minutes, because there's the reveal, and then the conversation after the reveal is him talking about like rats and why he's
Yeah.
so good, right? He's like, the other German marshals or whatever, they
Mhm.
think like a German, I
Yeah.
think like a Jew, and
Mhm.
so there's all of this where he's talking about how good he is, and how he I think he's basically telling him,
Yeah,
I know that there's people here. And he says to him, he's like, if you reveal where there are, if you comply right now, it's going to be not met with anger and uh
Punishment.
consequences,
Yeah.
punishment. Yeah, it's going to be met with good things. So he was like, I'm kind of fucked. They're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
And also like my family's here, that he could just wipe my whole family.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's kind of a us or them situation, and they're kind of already messed up. So he in his defense, I think, what else could he do?
No, it's true. Yeah, especially when you mentioned the kids thing to it, because I think that definitely plays up a role into it. Like if this is like maybe just like a single dude or something, and
Yeah.
like he was just hiding them under, he'd be like, oh fuck it, let me try to help these guys. But it's like my wife's outside, and then like my daughters are here, so it's like it's not worth it. Like I don't want these guys to die, but I don't want all of us to die. I think that's the
Yeah.
other option. It's like, well, he's gonna kill them anyway, and then it's either he kills my family too, or I can let them live. So
Yeah. Can't blame him.
no, you can't blame him.
But then he lets Shoshana go,
Mm,
and or like he's lining up the shot, right?
yeah.
There's this sick ass shot of her running away, like the camera is going through the door and he's in the
Mm.
doorway and we see her running away. That was a dope shot. But then he lines up his gun, doesn't pull the trigger, and says "Au revoir, Shoshana." But did you like? I remember the first time I was like, why did he do this?
Mhm. I mean, I initially was when he started lining up the shot. My first thought when I watched it, and even this time, I was thinking, I was like, "There's no way he's gonna get her. Like, this
Yeah,
guy
she's
isn't a
far.
sniper. Yeah, and it's just a handgun. It's not like he's got her in the freaking snipe and like he's gonna knock her out." So initially, I was like, "There's no way he's gonna get her." And then he just like, I think that's him realizing like, why do I even waste my bullets?
Yeah, but he has 3 soldiers with him and a car. They could just drive down and kill her. Like it could be, they could easily catch up to her. Just send the 3 soldiers on her.
No, that's true. He likes the chase. Yeah. He likes
Yeah,
the
that's
chase.
probably it. Honestly,
It
he's a
is.
weird guy.
No, he
So
is a
I
weird
could
guy.
see that. Then we meet the bastards.
Hmm.
So we get Brad Pitt and he has his monologue telling us about the bastards. They have their whole sequence in the trench where we meet like the bear Jew, and
Yeah.
we learn that they're terrorizing France and killing Nazis everywhere. What'd you think of all this?
Oh, I thought it was good. I love the way freaking when I think of this movie, I always think of the opening scene, and I think of the way Brad Pitt says "killing Nazis." I think
Yeah.
killing Nazi every single time. Just the first thing I think. You just his character is just so it's hilarious, man. It's just the way he sticks out his jaw, and he's just like always in his twang. And I mean, that's just his accent, but it's just I know it's just fucking hilarious. I just Brad Pitt's actually one of my favorite actors too. I don't say he's my favorite. It's like him and Will Smith are like the two guys that probably seen their most of their movies. So it's just like, and all the movies I've seen them and I liked. So I'm like, yeah, these are my guys. Yeah.
Every single one.
No, I haven't seen every single one of their movies, but I'm
No, but
saying
you've liked every single one?
that I've seen Brad Pitt in, yeah.
And Will Smith?
That I've seen, yeah. I'm sure they've been in some
Okay.
bad movies.
Yeah, because they've not all been in. They're not all bangers.
No, they're not all bangers, and that's tougher with actors. Like directors, it's different, but actors just like, yeah, I'm gonna get this paycheck, whatever.
Yeah, and I mean,
like,
you only have control over your character and like what you're doing.
Exactly.
So like, you're right. As an actor, I'm not blaming the actor, but it was just you said everything I've seen I've liked. So I was like, I don't know.
also, I'm saying everything I've seen, I've avoided. Like After Earth with Will and Jaden, I've avoided it.
Okay, fair enough. Because I have seen
There's a-
that and it's not good.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of avoided. I'm like, okay, I don't need to see that one.
Okay, fair enough. I just had to fact check it. That's all. I just
No,
had to
for
fact
sure.
check.
Yeah, everything I've seen. That's why I specifically said that.
Yeah. But yeah, Brad Pitt, he's awesome in this role, dude. I love
Oh.
him as Aldo. He's fucking sick. Like
Oh, yeah.
the voice is amazing. His delivery throughout the whole movie is so good. And yeah, the killing Nazis.
Yeah.
It's so good. I have a couple lines here that I had to shout out
Oh,
just from
100%.
this.
Go for it.
It's so good. They're the foot soldiers of a Jew hating mass murdering maniac, and they need to be destroyed. It's so fucking good, man. We got us a German here who wants to die for his country. Oblige him. Like, oh, it's so amazing, bro. Like you're in war and you're just
I
like
know.
cracking, they're not jokes, but like you're just not thrown off by any of this. You're scalping people. Like this guy's a psycho.
And he's just eating a sandwich too while they're doing all that stuff. They're all just like watching around, like cheering. He's just eating
They're
a
like,
sandwich.
yeah, gassing up the bear Jew. That was tough, man. His entrance when he's like
Oh,
tapping
yeah.
the bat. I remember the first time I watched this, like he's tapping the bat and they're talking him up. They're like, yeah, we call this guy the bear Jew. And we even saw before, like Hitler was even saying like, no, don't call them the bear Jew. Like it's too tough of a nickname, basically.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But then he comes out and I was like, this is a fitting physical presence of the bear Jew. Like, because when you build a character up like that and then there's a reveal, sometimes it could be like, oh really, that's him? But like this is a
Yeah.
pretty big dude and he mashes that dude with a baseball bat.
Oh yeah, and it's funny too because when I first watched this movie, not the COVID temple before that, I didn't really know who that was, but like now I know like that's Eli Roth and he's like a director, he's like a movie director. So I was like, it's funny seeing him that it's the guy that directs horror movies. And I was like, I didn't realize he was that big. Like I think he bulked up for the movie for sure, but it was funny to look back and see. It's like, oh shit, like Eli Roth. It's crazy to see him like that. But no, you're definitely right. Like the build up, because the whole time you're just hearing the clank, and they let it drag too. Like it's just like it wasn't like immediate come out and he pulled up. It's like wait for it. He's slowly coming. He even checks his watch. He's like, all right, dude, you're milking a little bit.
He's like, no, I'm on camera. Chill out, all right?
Yeah.
Then we're Shoshana and Frederick.
Well,
Like,
actually,
we kinda-
there is one thing
Oh,
I
go
want to.
ahead.
There is one thing I want to say. That little quick cut scene when they showed like Hitler, like I don't. I think that was right before this. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Well, it's kind of in the midst of the whole thing.
Yeah, it just made me think back. Do you remember that Hitler meme? Like from like way back.
Yeah, yeah, like from that movie, and then they revoiced it. Or
Yeah.
they,
Well, they put
okay,
different
I know.
subtitles on it because he was
Subtitles,
screaming
yeah.
in German.
Right. Yeah.
And I
yeah.
went back and watched because I was like, was it from this movie? And it was from some movie from like 2004 called like Downfall. And it was just so funny because it was like, yeah, it was just him in a room. And then someone relays bad news to him. He takes off the glasses. And he's like, everybody get out. And he just starts screaming. Everyone the one that I saw was hilarious because it was talking about like Jojo Rabbit. Like, do you know that movie?
Yeah.
And it's just that's another like World War II movie.
Yeah.
And it's the dude that directs the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Like he's
Yeah.
the one that plays Hitler in it. And then he's talking about like what they have, and he's Jewish, which I didn't know. Like they have a Jewish guy playing me, did it like all this crazy stuff, and everyone's just like looking around. And then at the end, it's always him like saying something, and everyone looks around. And then this one, it's just like, man, forget that. Anyway, we should make a movie about me, and I'll star him. We'll get that guy that made Ragnarok. That was a good guy, and everyone looks around because it's the same guy.
No way. Yeah, bro, that fucking video is hilarious. I've seen so many of those.
Oh my goodness.
With like they just change the subtitles for different things that he's mad at. But it's so good because like it starts off, yeah, everyone's in the room, someone tells him something, kicks everybody out, he flips out, and then there's a moment where someone says something else, like one more thing, and then he gets even more pissed off, and then he starts getting sad. Like there's so many emotions and so many
it's
different
so
avenues
good.
for people to take with it, and people are so creative,
They
man.
really are, man.
Like you put something on the internet, and people are just gonna make it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
100%. I also like how the Samuel gets a little cameo of just narrating of Hugo's little background story. Which I didn't even remember that, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't catch that. I forgot.
I didn't
that
remember
it
it either, but I noticed it actually when he was talking about the nitrate, like burning.
Oh yeah, later on.
Yeah, later on
film.
when he does the other one, and I was like, oh shit, that's definitely Samuel.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And but you're right, like he's been in Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
and
Hateful Eight.
Django, which was after Hateful Eight, was also after this.
Yeah,
I
Jackie Brown.
believe.
He's in Jackie Brown too.
Yeah, but he's Tarantino's guy.
Yeah,
so
it is
he-
this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he just threw him in just as a little narration piece. That was cool. Also, did you know that the first person that we see get scalped,
Oh, it's Tarantino, right?
that's Tarantino.
Yeah, I literally just saw that. That's crazy. It doesn't look like him because I looked at the back of the picture. I mean, his scalp's missing, but I couldn't really see the face. But no, that's crazy.
I didn't look back at the shot in the movie. I just read it and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And there's actually one more spot that he's in the movie, and I'll bring it up when we get there.
Okay, yeah. I don't know about the second one, so
Oh, okay.
okay, that's
Yeah,
sick.
it's a good one too. So then Shoshana and Frederick. So yeah,
Yeah.
we meet Frederick, and he was the war hero. And
Mm-hmm.
there's the meeting with Goebbels, and then Hans comes in, and
Yeah.
like this whole sequence. What'd you think about that?
Oh no, this is a really good one too. And it's funny with Frederick, man was just straight harassing her. She was not feeling it.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the like that little dinner scene was funny too. Like it's funny the funny little cut scene when she looks at him and with the director and his wife. It's just them smashing for like 2 seconds, and it's just
Yeah.
I don't know why that it initially made me think of like the whole thing, like you know when like you're in school and like your teacher comes pregnant and you're like, yo, what? Like someone smashing you? Like what? I
You
feel like
exist outside of school? What are you doing?
I feel like it's that same kind of thing. You suddenly get that image, it's like, wait, what? Oh, what the heck? But no, that's another intense scene too. Like when like he comes and just starts like talking or whatnot. Because now we know we have again, it's that we have that built-in background, that tension where it's like, oh shit. And does he know? We don't know.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Do you think that he knows?
I don't like. It is an interesting like theory too, because it's like even at the end when he says the whole thing, like, and I have one more question, and he's like, I forget what it is.
Right? Yeah, like when that happened, I was like, what was he gonna do? Like, can I see your papers, or like, can I? Oh, I really want to know what that question would have been.
Yeah, like his whole thing was just like, I know you have a black guy working for you, and you don't want him to be in the projectionist, so you should do it. That's all he wanted to say to her. Like I don't know. Like I feel like that is a good question. I wonder. We'll never know. But that it makes me think like, why else would he? What else was the one other question? What else could he possibly? Did he even know her? Is she known? I feel
Yeah,
like
he's like, "Oh, I got one more thing," and she's like shitting her pants.
yeah.
And then he's like, "No, it's okay. It's all good." But another thing that like maybe leads me to believe that he does know
Mhm.
is that he orders himself a coffee, and then he
Yeah.
says, "For the girl, milk." Like he
Mm.
orders milk for her.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was like, is that like the link that
Ty.
yeah,
Yeah.
the tie back to like when they almost killed her. And that's his way of telling her, like, yeah, I know it's you. I know
Yeah.
it's you, but like I'm for whatever reason I'm gonna let it go for now, you know?
I guess he's playing the long game because I think at this point he knows it's like, all right, well now they just announced the theater's gonna be at your place. I guess clearly Frederick likes you. You know what I mean? He's like, I mean, I get no. At the end of the day, I think they'd all understand. Like, this is a Jew. We're definitely not gonna do it there. But I
Yeah.
don't know. We know he like, especially the way the movie ends with everything. Not to jump too far ahead, but we know he's not 100% all about the cause. Like whatever
Right.
it's best for him is what he's gonna do. So
Yeah.
maybe in that sense, he's like, I'll play the long game. Maybe if I want to get this girl and maybe do it in a bigger reveal where it'll become more of a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got me
It's
thinking.
We'll never know.
We'll never
Unless
know.
we'll gotta get Tarantino on the podcast.
Yeah, one day.
We'll
One
ask him
day.
that question. One day we'll get him.
One
Hey,
day
that'd be sick.
when he's promoting his 10th movie. By then we'll well whatever we got to do. Maybe
Yeah,
it'll be a
exactly.
TIFF. You never know.
Ooh.
You never
Yeah,
know.
maybe. He
You
could
never
be.
know. Yeah, you never know.
You
There's
know?
one other thing I got to mention though about that little scene too.
Yeah.
The strudel. That shit looks
Mm.
so good.
You think so?
With the cream and everything. He's like,
Yeah.
wait for the creme, wait for the creme.
She goes to take a bite and he's like, no, no, no,
No,
don't you
no, no.
dare. Wait for that.
Yeah,
It does look good. And he only eats like half of it and then he
yeah,
puts
I know.
his cigarette out on him. Like, what are you doing, bro? Finish it. You talked up how this thing is so delicious. You're not even gonna finish it?
Well, he did say it's not so terrible, which is the weirdest way to hype something up.
That's crazy. I mean, because if you think about it too, this is during war. So,
Yeah.
all these like cream, milk, fat, like all this pastry, like most of these resources all get sent off to the front lines, right? To feed soldiers. I mean,
Mhm.
they're obviously the elite, so they still get it,
Yeah.
but it's not like they would be getting this often, I would
Yeah.
assume, because he's also traveling around the country and doing different things. So I would assume you can only get this every now and again. You talked about how great this cream is, and you only finish half of it with it. That's crazy.
No, that's so true. There actually is one other thing too, and I kind of got this from the book. It's something I want to mention too. It's just like now when you watch Tarantino movies, you gotta look at the way he always presents food. This guy's such a foodie. Like there's
Mm,
always such like so immense detail, and like for just I'm obviously only gonna mention ones I know that you've seen since you mentioned them, but like Pulp Fiction with the burger. Like when they're
yeah.
interrogating those guys, there's always like a scene which like the food thing, even like Cliff, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like first of all, when he's feeding his dog with that nasty ass slop,
Oh yeah.
and then when he's like making KD and Django, like when he's giving Django his first beer, they go through the whole process. He always like just like love showing like the details. Because in other movies, not necessarily saying you have to, but sometimes it's just like, oh, the food's there, it's kind of whatever, it's already made, whatever, eating it. But he puts so much like the zoom in, the close shots, like he loves hyping up the foods, man.
Yeah, I think in this scene, I think it's one of those ways to just add a little extra something to it
Hmm.
because there's already that little bit in the back of our minds like, does he know? We
Yeah,
know. And does he know? She obviously knows. And she's fucking scared. So like
yeah,
it's already tense. And then you add kind of this thing just to like give more air to that. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like
no,
if
for
you've
sure.
built this tension in the scene and you don't want to just rush through it. So it's one of those things that just like a couple close-up shots of like the guy serving the cream and him taking a bite and eating it, and I don't know, it's just a little something just to give us an extra something in the scene that gives a little more space for us to feel that tension.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's definitely to go to your point, it's like a contrast of the fact that like eating like a little sugary dessert is just like it's just like a joyful thing that they're doing in such an intense moment. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Mhm.
let's eat this little dessert together. But like in the back of your mind, of our mind, in her mind, it's like she's freaking out and he's just enjoying it, saying, "Hey, wait for the cream," putting his sugar in his drink, like just smiling. He's just being all nice. Like it's not
Yeah.
like he's being stern with her. Like he's being so nice, just like he was in the beginning. But it's such an intense moment for the character that it's like a funny like parallel.
Yeah, but the character is so good and Christoph Waltz is so good in the
Oh yeah,
performance
he was
that
really good.
that like you said, he's being so nice and polite, but that's what he did in the first scene. So
Yeah.
we know that doesn't necessarily mean that he's just disarmed and he's
Yeah.
not gonna pop off. You know, he could still turn and kill her. And like when he asked that last question, we're like, holy shit, because it doesn't matter that he was so nice and polite. He could flip on a dime. This is all just an act, I guess, to lure us in or to lure the whoever he's hunting.
Yeah.
You know, to get them to lower their defenses. So it could have been the same thing, and we just don't know. But he like the two different sides of the character, like Christoph Waltz does so well. So
Oh yeah.
it works so well in this. I mean, in every scene that he's in, but in this scene as well, it just works so good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, he's really great throughout this every scene he's in, he's always putting so much like because again, we know what his intentions are. So whenever we see him enter the room, it's like, oh shit, what's about to
Yeah.
happen?
And like he's always like the smartest person in the room,
Oh yeah.
basically, you know, in every scene that he's in. So that's another side of the coin that's really cool. And then so we meet Hickox,
Yeah.
and then we learn about Project. I can't remember the name of it.
No, I don't
where
remember
they're-
either. But
yeah, I
yeah.
don't remember. But and then then we get the big bar scene. So they meet up with Bridget von Hammersmark,
Yeah.
and they have this whole scene. This is another great one. Like
Oh, yeah.
this movie is just back to back to back, just
Oh
great
yeah.
scenes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And you know what? This is like a small thing too. This is when I was like looking at the cast. Like I'll get to the bar scene too, but like when they were doing that little briefing, like that old man that was sitting in the corner. Did you
Yeah.
know that was supposed to be Winston Churchill?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that. How how do you mean of course?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I know him decently. Like I've studied a little bit of like him and like the history of World War II and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, but also him specifically, I know his mannerism. Like he's all hunched over,
Yeah.
you know, and his face is a little twisted. Like that's the way Winston Churchill is.
Okay, yeah.
But you're right; they never say it. So you know, if you don't know all that stuff, I like I'm not blaming you for not
No,
knowing
no,
it.
no.
I'm
for
just
sure.
saying I knew that.
I don't think you are, but and that's the funny thing. Like I know who Winston Churchill is, like obviously, but
Mhm.
in that moment, like when they're doing the briefing, he's just sitting in the corner and like at the piano. So like, and he didn't know. All he really just say. They ask about like 40s German films, and then just says brief them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. In that sense, I should have been like, okay, this guy's someone of power, but I don't know. I just never made that connection for whatever reason. I didn't think that was Winston Churchill. I don't until this viewing. I was like, oh wait, that's Winston Churchill.
Yeah, that was pretty tough too, though, because it was like a test, right? He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, tell me about the film." They ask him a couple questions, and he answers them, and he's just like, "Yeah, this is our guy." Yeah, brief him, and that's Mike Myers on the other side, eh? You knew
Yeah,
that too, I'm
that's what I
assuming.
wrote. I wrote freaking Austin Powers and Magneto are
Yeah.
briefing.
they're going to be the ones to take down Hitler. Well, I mean, Magneto's a Jew. That
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's his
Yeah.
back. That is his background story. So yeah, it does work.
That does work.
Apparently, also, this is one thing. As I was looking, the guy that played Winston Churchill was the original leader of the Inglourious Basterds, like in the original movie. So that's like a little
Oh,
nod.
cool.
It's a little nod to the first one. I mean, I don't know. Only people that we wouldn't have known. There's
No.
only something you watch if you like go back. But I thought it was a nice little nod.
Yeah,
Pay
yeah.
respects to
No,
the
it's-
old, to the older one, the OG.
Yeah, that's a good little touch. Because like stuff like that, where it's like it almost doesn't matter who you cast.
Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
such a small role that you could cast anybody in it, and they
Mhm.
just you can make it work. So like to fill that with someone that has a little extra touch, I like
Yeah.
it.
Oh, for sure.
Then the bar scene. So the this one, it was a great one too. That they just I feel like it's the same kind of strategy that he uses with the opening scene. Like they kind of lull us to sleep. Like
Yeah.
all the German soldiers in the bar, they're all drunk and partying. So we're like, okay, there's no big deal. There's no big problem that's gonna arise here.
Yeah.
And then when the guy says, "Oh, your accent is funny," and then we're like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah.
That everything just changed right off of that. Like the reveal of when we saw them hiding under the floor in the first scene, we're like, okay, everything just changed. Like
Mhm.
I find it cool that he kind of did the same thing here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it is funny too because the guys are pissed drunk, and then immediately he just hears a different little bit of accent. He's like, "Oh, where are you from, bro?" Like just immediately fronting him. But yeah, no, this whole scene was great. And what's it called? I actually recently played that game. I've never played that game before. I played it for the first time on
Oh, like Heads
Thanksgiving.
Up.
Yeah, well, not it is kind of like Heads Up, but I feel like Heads Up is more like the teams thing where it's like you have two people and
Oh,
the other
right.
thing.
Yeah,
This one's
yeah, yeah.
more so it's like everyone's writing thing and then pop and then you're going around the table.
Yeah.
And you ever played the game before? It's actually pretty fun.
No, I guess not, because I was comparing it to, I played Heads Up, but I've never
Yeah.
done this version.
Because Heads Up's more like fast in the sense of like, oh,
It is, yeah.
like that kind of thing. And this one's more, at least the way I played it, it was like you put it on, like, let's say my thing says Tarantino. And like, if you get one wrong, though, if you say, am I a singer? And you say no, then it moves around. So they do it really differently. You just keep asking and asking until you get there.
Hmm.
But I like the also how it's that whole when the guy comes and kind of confronts them and he has the thing on and they wrote King Kong on his head. And I never thought about the whole perspective of like the story of the Negro in America with
I
like
know,
King
eh?
Kong. That took me, I paused the movie the first time I watched. I was like, what's King Kong really about? What's the origins of King Kong?
Yeah, you're right. It's a great way of working that into this movie. I don't know if he did that. I mean, he obviously did it on purpose, but
Yeah.
like I wonder why he did it. But you're right. Like it is interesting the way that he's asking all these questions. And as he's asking the questions, I was thinking too. I was like, well, obviously I know it's King Kong because we can
Yeah.
see the answer, but I could tell that he was going in that direction of like talking about black people because they
Yeah.
also mentioned before Hans was saying like you have a Negro working
Yeah.
at your movie theater. We don't want it. So like there's already that
Hmm.
theme that's introduced into the movie, but I never really it never got me thinking like, damn, who the fuck made King Kong and what the fuck's wrong with them?
I mean, it wouldn't be off-putting because the movie came out in the 30s. The original King
Yeah.
Kong came out in the 30s, like I think it's like 1934 or something. I don't know why I'm saying I think. I know that's because I looked it up. But it
Okay.
came out in 1934. I remember I immediately paused and I was like, started looking at all these Reddit threads, and like all the Reddit threads were saying the same thing. Like, I just watched Inglourious Basterds. Like, does anyone know if this is true? And I'm like, okay, nobody knows. Nobody knows. This is just Tarantino just threw that in to fuck with this. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, where's maybe it's Tarantino that's fucked up. He's like, let me just take a character that's a monkey and compare it to black people in general. I mean, the whole did they come on a boat in chains
Yeah, no, it's
from the
true.
jungle?
No, it's
And
true.
but I mean, it was double racist because he's like, okay, that be they're foreign. It's either they're from the jungle or the Orient. So it was either
Yeah.
so it's like, it was double racist. He doubled down on it.
No, that's true. But this goes to your point too, with like another twist too, like with the shootout and everything.
Mm.
Because he just ends up like that was the funniest killer. He's like, I got my gun pointed at your testicles. He's like, well, I got mine pointed at yours. And then
Yeah.
freaking this hall, like Hugh just puts it right on him. He's like, well, looks like we have an issue here.
Yeah, that guy's so tough, bro.
Oh
Hugo,
my
he's
goodness.
like this guy's like fuck Nazis.
Oh my
like this guy's a
God.
German, and you know what's crazy about that? The actor, Till Schweiger,
Yeah.
so he plays Hugo. So he said that he would never wear a Nazi uniform for a role
Mhm.
because he's born and raised in Germany, and
Yeah.
he fucking hates like anything that has to do with Nazis.
Yeah.
But he agreed to play the part when they told him that anytime he put on the uniform, he would be brutally killing a Nazi. Because like he's like at this one, he has the uniform on, gun straight to the
Oh
balls.
my gosh.
And
yeah.
then after he shoots him, he's like stabbing him in the
yeah.
back. Insane, bro.
And then after like when we get that scene where it's just like the one guy, you just see his head face down with the knife sticking straight up. I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, he brutalized him.
That was he was like, okay, if I can do that to Nazi characters, then I'll put on the uniform so they know that I am not associating. I mean, obviously we understand that none of these actors are associating themselves
Yeah,
with the
for
Nazi
sure.
party, right? They're just playing a
100%.
role. But him specifically, he was like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not the same equivalent because it doesn't work. But I guess it'd be like the equivalent if someone was like, "Yeah, I don't want to wear a KKK hood, even if I made it.
Right.
It feels kind of off to me. I don't want to do it." So it's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that though. It is interesting. It's interesting. Everybody, I guess you just get so used to with American movies where it's just like you got the American playing a Spanish person, or you know what I mean, like or whatever it is. But in this, everyone that's German is actual German, and then the French characters are actually from France. It's like, oh shit, like. You don't have any Americans double dipping. You literally everyone's just foreign actor.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Because even
And-
Mike Myers, like I was thinking, I was like, oh, well, he's Canadian. He's pretending to be
Mm.
British, but both his parents are from London. He just moved from London from here, so technically he does have a background.
Oh shit,
Yeah, so everyone.
that's cool. And dude, in this scene, I mean, we're already talking about it. I'm kind of going back a little bit, but when the reveal that the Mazer is just sitting in the corner,
Oh yeah,
like that was it. Just it's almost like I'm comparing it to the first scene again when Hans is like, you're harboring enemies of the state, or you not? Like that's when it's like, no, he's legit. Like he's calling you out now.
yeah,
And I suppose in this one, it's not the major doesn't call him out right away, but we know we're like, oh shit, okay, this guy's here and he actually has the authority. Like he's gonna do something. Like the other
Yeah.
guys, when he was asking about his accent, it made sense, right? When Hickox, he's like, I'm an officer or whatever. You're just a infantry or whatever
Yeah.
the roles were, right? He's
Yeah.
like, don't even ask me that question. So I was kind of like, there's no real threat here. And then
Yeah.
when that guy was there, just like plotting in the corner,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
wild. Like you just show up to a bar just to sit in the corner and drink the biggest beer you ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. This guy just had a baby. You don't even gonna want to sit with them, or he's about to be a father. You don't even give a shit.
Yeah, but he didn't care at all. But when he enters the scene, I'm like, the tension just goes through the roof.
100%.
And I'm like, this movie is amazing because I don't know where this is gonna go. I
Yeah.
mean, I assume that there was gonna be some blood.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking back to the first time I saw this. Obviously, I knew this time, but
Yeah.
I assume there was like not everyone was just gonna walk out of there. There was no way, but I didn't know what was gonna happen next, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. Tarantino is cooking.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I can recall like back to the first time I watched it, and it's just like you're gonna kill Michael Fassbender and these guys right like that. You're gonna kill Hugo. Like we got a whole background and montage of him fucking
Yeah.
killing Nazis, and we
True.
just introduced Michael Fassbender, which I guess at that point he wasn't as big. Like
Yeah.
he probably at least in North America, I'd say. But going back, I'm like, damn, you killed Michael Fassbender that quick. But it was just wild because he just introduced his character. So you're just not expecting that. You're like, oh, this guy's part of the Bastards, and these guys aren't gonna die. Because again, we always talk about plot armor. So you just assume like all these guys are fine. Like even if they get in a little bit of trouble, they'll win the shootout and they'll all survive.
Right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's so good. Because I remember there's not every movie that you remember the first time you watched it, and I don't remember this the first time I watched it, like every single second of
Yeah.
this movie, but like in certain spots, I remember, and that just speaks to how well it's performed, written, everything. It's just great. The last question I had for this scene for you is like the three fingers
Yeah.
thing, right? That's what gives them away. Do you think you would notice like in the reversal, like if someone stuck up their thumb, index, and middle finger to say 3 instead of their index, middle, and ring finger,
Mhm.
would you like notice that and think it's weird?
That's the thing. I feel like it works in the context of this movie, but I feel like because like in Canada, for example, we don't really have like a thing. If someone threw up this, I wouldn't. Because I mean, like 3 in basketball, someone hits the
Yeah.
3, you do this.
With the
So someone,
pinky, yeah.
yeah. So someone did this. So someone did this. If someone did like, I don't even know what else you could do. That's weird. I'm
If
thinking
someone did,
this.
like throw up the West Coast.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Drop
what's-
the ring
yeah. If someone
finger,
hit
there you
like
go.
this, I'd be like, I'm staying away from this dude. Like, I don't think I'd do anything of it. But I guess in these times, in war, I think it makes sense because there's spies and all these people.
Yeah.
So in this content, it makes sense. But otherwise, if we were at a bar watching like a freaking basketball game and someone was like, "Oh yeah, 3," you'd be like, "Is this guy a Nazi?" Like,
Dion, get your gun. Put it to his balls right now. Get your gun on this guy's balls right now. He's a threat. You're right. It works in this context because they're already on high alert.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, oh, this guy, his accent is funny, so I'm trying to see. But also, like, the thing that got me, especially the first time watching, I was like, why did he do 3 fingers? You just say, I want 3
I
glasses.
know.
You don't have to do
I
the 3
know.
fingers at all.
It's so true. No, 100%.
Damn. I wonder how. I mean, obviously, this is the whole. It's part of the story, right? It changes everything in the story because now they got to get the Italians into the movie, and like,
Yeah.
it changes the whole sequence.
anime.
But if that didn't happen, like, would it have changed that much? Or, well, I guess maybe Hans wouldn't have known the plan.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Oh, yeah. So that is the whole. Yeah,
He still would have been
Everything-
there, I think, and they probably
he
just
would have been there. But do
Yeah.
you think he would have noticed?
No, probably not. Because why would he even question them?
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly.
Yeah, there would be no reason to. No, it's a good point. Yeah.
It just everything's so tight knit, and the writing is so good.
Oh yeah.
And then we get to the movie premiere,
Mhm.
and they changed the whole plan. Now we got Aldo and the Bear Jew, Donnie Donowitz,
Mm.
and Omar that are the Italian guys.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's cooking again, bro.
Oh yeah.
Gorlami,
Yeah. Yeah.
Gorlami. Like it's so good at that. and fucking Donnie's just I can't remember his name, but Malgaretti.
Oh yeah,
Malgaretti. Like he makes each of them say it 3 times
Yeah, I
because he
know.
knows the plan
Yeah,
right now. So
exactly.
he's like, I know these guys are bullshit. He's just playing with them. And when she like talks about like, no, I got hit or I fell off this mountain.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like
and him just dying.
bursts out laughing. He's like, this is the dumbest fucking lie. Did you notice there's actually a girl beside him when he because he takes a couple steps back. He's
Yeah.
fucking laughing his ass off. There's a girl that like looks at him like, the fuck is this
Oh,
guy
I didn't even
doing?
notice. I didn't even notice the look, but I can. That's hilarious. Oh no, that is
Bro.
it is funny though, because he's just bursting out because they think he's just bursting out because they think it's a funny story. He's like, man, like you said,
Yeah.
like this is a stupid ass lie. Like I can't even contain
Yeah.
myself. Like this is a stupid ass lie, man. He's like, yeah, what mountains? He's like, that shit looks pretty fresh. What mountain did you
Yeah,
go
we're in
to?
Paris,
Yeah.
goddammit. What fucking mountain is it? And then because she's stone faced, she's like, "Oh shit! Like, what am I gonna say?" And he's like, "Ah, it's all good. I'm playing with you." So like,
Yeah, exactly.
but he's just another. Again, he's the smartest person in the room, right? He knows their plan. They don't know that he knows, but he's letting it go because I guess he sees his way out of the situation. Like, I guess he knows they're losing the war, and he's trying to find his way out. So I guess this is why, like you said, playing the long game, but it's another way that as a viewer you're like, what the fuck is about to happen? Like he
Yeah.
knows the plan and he's a fucking psycho.
No, 100%. And we didn't even talk about the reason he even knows too. It's double things because like he sees the
Right.
shoe, and again that goes back to your point of just such a well written tight script where it's just like, okay, how is he gonna find a clue? How's he gonna know it's her? And it's like just the
Mhm.
idea of like she could have been anybody. Let's have her be a famous actress, and someone's gonna want her autograph, so she's gonna sign something, and then that gets left, and then he finds it. He's like, oh, so this is who it is.
And what's so good about that is like it just like when it happens in the story, when she signed the guy asks for the autograph and she signs it and kisses it, like we don't think twice about
Yeah,
that.
no, you
You're
don't.
not like, oh shit, that's gonna get them caught.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't think that at all.
No,
I'm
me
just like,
neither.
okay, yeah, she's signing the autograph for the guy. It makes total sense. And then it comes back and he finds it, and then we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because even when he's looking around and he finds the shoe, I even forget, and you forget initially in that moment, it's like that clue of the autograph because you don't know where it is. I
Mhm.
mean, the dude had it in his pocket. Maybe he got shot up. Like, who knows where that thing is? Maybe he got shot up in the shootout. So you're not even
Right.
thinking about it. So then when he finds it, you're like, oh damn, she did. You do give an autograph. You're like, ah,
Fucking it's so
it's
good
good.
because then he takes her into the room,
Yeah.
like the side office thing,
Mm.
and like I talked about before, he freaks out, chokes her out, but he was tough in this scene too. Like
Oh,
again,
yeah.
he was so warm. He's always so warm and inviting when he's like playing this part, and then when he's like, oh, put your foot on my lap, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh no, you're embarrassing me, and he just stares at her and
Yeah.
like points at his leg again, and just like he's just dripping in like power
Yeah.
and aura, and he's like, "No, you're going to do this because I know what the fuck's going on,
Yeah.
and there's 100,000 Nazis outside this door that I could get to murder you at any
Yeah.
second." Oh, so good.
And it's crazy too because again, it's all about him like asserting like power and dominance in all these scenes. And like if that's like he already knows that it's her. He doesn't even need to
Mhm.
put on the shoe. But he's just doing it just to like so she knows. Like I want you to
Right.
know why I'm killing you. It's because I know because you fucked up. You left your shoe. Perfect.
And you sign the autograph.
And you signed the autograph. I don't think you showed her the autograph, but you fucked up.
yeah,
You fucked
no,
up.
that
So
was it's so tough. You're
Oh,
right.
it's
Like
good.
just I want you to know why I'm because I remember the first time I didn't expect him to kill her.
yeah, me neither.
Like he was so
Cool.
calculated and
Yeah.
cool throughout the whole movie, and then he just starts flipping out and choking her. And this is when Tarantino's in the movie again. That's him choking her.
Oh shit! I didn't realize that. I think I
Yeah,
did
'cause-
see something about that. But go.
Because he's like he always said he hates the way people choke people in movies, which is a
Yeah.
wild thing to say, which is just crazy. But yeah, so he said he always hates the way people choke people in movies, but he didn't trust Christoph Waltz to like do it too hard or too
Yeah.
soft or whatever. So he asked her, he's like, I'm gonna actually choke you. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna cut off your air for a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he fucking choked her out. And she agreed to it. She was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's fine. Choked her out until I don't know how you maybe they had like she like tapped his leg or something when it was too
Yeah.
much or
No, for
whatever.
sure.
But
Ref comes
That's-
in, and
yeah, exactly.
You good. No, that's true. That it's funny. I heard bits of that story. Like when I heard that him just saying that he wanted, like, I know she actually got choked because because Tarantino said that thing, but I didn't actually realize it was him that ended up being the choker in the end.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know. He puts himself in these movies, man, just so he could do these crazy shit.
I guess so, man.
Like with Salma Hayek and
Oh, and Dust Till
the foot
Dawn.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dust Till Dawn. Yeah, that shit's crazy. That movie I've seen too.
Yeah. He's like, hey, someone's gonna be putting their Salma Hayek's foot in their mouth. Who should it be?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll take one for the team. I'll bite that bullet.
I feel like I feel like this works with the script. I don't know. Like, you guys know how I make my scripts tight and everything, right? This just makes sense for the storyline.
It has to be me, okay?
Yeah.
When we get to the end of the story, it couldn't be anybody else but me, because then it's not gonna. Yeah, I don't know. But it's so funny, man. And then he's like, someone's got to choke this woman out. I have to do it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
exactly.
It's got to be me. There's a cool shot that I wanted to shout out.
Yeah.
At the movie premiere, it's a long take when Shoshana she comes out of there's a big door. I don't know what room she's coming out of, but at the top of the stairs, and then it follows her down the stairs, and then she meets with Frederick and Goebbels, and they talk for a minute, and then the camera then pans back up to the top of the stairs, and it's Hans there, and then it follows him down, and then that's when they start the conversation with the Bastards and Bridget von Hammersmark. But like, this was a cool shot of like just showing the room and how jam-packed it was, and like there's Nazi flags everywhere and swastikas. I thought it was a cool shot. I want to shout it out.
That was a good shot. It's a good, just like showing like the setting of like this is what we're getting into. This is everyone's here. You're like, all the characters we've seen throughout the movie that are still alive, we're all in this building, and it's a good way of showing all that.
Yeah,
in like a stylized way.
And then they get trapped.
Yeah,
but this is so good that how he comes up with this plan on the spot, I guess, where he's like, okay, I'm gonna let these two guys go into the theater so that they can blow it up.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna take Aldo so that I can negotiate.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna kill Bridget, and I'm gonna put dynamite under Hitler's chair, and like he comes up with all of this on the spot because he knew that there was some shit going on, but he didn't know exactly what it was.
No, it's crazy, and it goes back to us like talking about how it's like he's for the cause, but he's also like in it for himself in the sense of like, well, I'm gonna do what's best for me. Like, they call me the Jew hunter, whatever it is. Like, I'm good at my job, but like he's thinking far ahead. Like, I don't know if he's just thinking that, oh, these guys are probably gonna lose the war. I don't know if he's thinking that far ahead. But I guess maybe he thinks so. Like, he's just realizing like what's going on around the world, I guess. And he's like, I'm gonna flip sides because I don't see a future in this.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. I mean,
he didn't show it in the movie, but
no, I mean, you're definitely right that he's doing it for himself.
Yeah.
But like the whole calculated plan, like he's just smartest guy in the room, uses everyone around him to his advantage, and like he speaks 18 languages, and we see it all in the movie. So this guy's, what a character, what a performance. I just can't say enough about this guy.
Oh no, 100%. And also too, it's like I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
No, all good.
Yeah.
And then so they trap Aldo.
Yeah.
And they also get Udovich.
Yeah.
And then they have this whole scene where he's like making his demands and negotiating. This was a cool scene too.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
What'd you think about it?
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna talk about this.
Okay.
Where I was just gonna say that like it's such a plot. It's like another twist because you expect like, oh, like as like Brad Pitt and those guys got tackled. All right, well now I don't know if necessarily we're about to see them get executed or something, but like they're gonna die. Like I don't know what they're gonna have to talk about. Cause I didn't think it was gonna, like when they took them away, I didn't realize they were gonna meet up somewhere else. So like even that in itself, I'm like, what do they have to talk about? Like it's another one of those moments where we're talking about like you're on the edge of your seat because it's like, what do they have to talk about? Like I thought these are the bastards that have been scalping people and all this shit. Like what do they have to talk to them about? I thought they were just gonna kill them straight up.
Yeah, and this is the people that he's been looking for this whole time.
Yeah,
and we assume that he's still loyal to the Nazis because we've never seen him do anything otherwise.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's but when he lets those guys go, then we're like, okay, why did he do that? I mean, we didn't know that he put the dynamite under the chair or anything at that point, but like Brad Pitt and Christoph Waltz in this scene going back and forth is so good. Even just the little jokes where he's like, "Ooh, that's a bingo."
Oh yeah.
Is that how you say it? you just say bingo. But like, it's so funny. Like neither of them feel like they're under pressure. Like you said, like Aldo, we feel like he's gonna die. He probably
Yeah.
assumed he's gonna die,
Hmm.
but he's still just not even moving from that, not even budging from his character. And when he's making the demands and the dialogue of Christoph Waltz, like Hans Landa saying, you want to end the war tonight? I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Like how good of a story, like what a crazy story to get all the power in this guy's hands at this moment. That's crazy.
No, it is crazy. And it is wild too, because it's like, yeah, he like has he always kind of had this in the back of your mind? Again, you'll never have that answer, but like as you're watching that scene, you're thinking like, oh man, like this guy, has he always been hungry for that power? Again, it doesn't show it in the movie, but once you get to this point in the movie, you're like, oh, this guy, because he's listing all the things I want to get the medal of, I want to get this honor, I want this to happen to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like he's probably been thinking about this a little bit. Even though I'm sure he's come up with this plan on the fly, this has definitely been in the back of his head. You don't just flip like that on a dime without this being like planted in there somewhere.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. But I mean, like to take someone that's a high ranking officer still, but like to say, okay, how are we gonna give this guy the power that he's talking to the Americans and he has the power to end the war
Yeah.
right now? Like that power of having millions of people's hands in your life, or in your millions of people's lives in your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I flipped it. Is so crazy to me. And like the fact that you're negotiating that is pretty fucking wild, just like the concept of it.
Yeah.
But
No,
like
for sure.
coming up with a story to make it make sense of how we ended up here is so crazy to me. I can't get over it, dude.
No, it really is. Like, yeah, this whole sequence is just like full of, because you feel like it's just the like most stories, you think everything's gonna be point blank and how you expect it to be, in the sense of like the Bastards are gonna do her thing, Shoshan's gonna get her thing done, and it's just like it's all like we get so many flips, and it's just like, oh damn, like it's just the whole conclusion of the movie is just like to even get to the Shoshana thing, and like when Frederick comes
Yeah.
to see her and
Yeah.
everything, it's just like, and that was a nice little twist too, because it's like, oh snap, he's gonna go see her, he's gonna fuck up the plan, and then she just pops him, and then he ends up popping her back, and it's like, oh damn.
I was like, why is she flipping him over? Like, what did she think he was
I
gonna
know.
do?
Yeah, I don't know. She's double tap, yo. She's trying to do the double tap.
What she shot him like 3 times.
Yeah, I guess so. You gotta do it in the
But-
head though.
Yeah, that's right. It's got to be in the head. But like her dying there, because even this point, because he shoots her and
Yeah.
she starts bleeding out. I was like, wait, did she get up and change the film reels to have her movie play? But she's dying. Like I didn't even remember exactly how it happened. I was like, does this actually fuck up the plan? I mean, it wouldn't necessarily fuck up the plan anyway, because Donnie and Omar are already
Oh, the
there.
bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But she doesn't
still
know
have the
about that.
bomb.
She
But
doesn't know
doesn't.
about
Yeah,
that, yeah.
exactly. She doesn't know about that. But then it would. I mean, we still have Marcel that's in the back, ready to light the place on fire.
Yeah, but he's waiting
But
for the
he
cue
wouldn't have-
though. Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have got the cue. So I was like, would it change anything? But it doesn't end up changing anything. Like, did she have to die?
Yeah, no, it's true. I guess just to add another twist to the movie of like, you don't expect that. Because the funny thing is, it's not overwhelming because there's so much that happens, and then once you get to that point of the movie, you're not even just rooting for her. Like, there's other aspects of the movie you're enjoying, where it's not like this was like our sole character that we really enjoy, and then she dies, and it's kind of sad. At least in my opinion. I don't know how you
Yeah.
feel about
No,
it.
totally. I mean,
Yeah.
Hans and Aldo are our 2 biggest characters. I
Yeah.
would say, like their storylines are the most intriguing. Shoshana's is interesting and it's important,
Mhm.
but I feel like her and Frederick, that whole relationship is kind of
Yeah.
So like when the way it ends, I guess it's just his way of like wrapping up that side of the story.
Yeah.
But it didn't necessarily have to happen. Like what would have been different if he just stayed in the booth?
But what do you mean?
Like Frederick, because he
Yeah.
gets up and leaves, right? He's like, oh, I have to go.
Oh,
Like he's
yeah,
getting
true.
PTSD basically, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's like,
true.
okay, no, I have to get out of here. But if he doesn't rate that in the movie, what would be different?
No, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. I guess he just wanted to tighten things up. He's like,
Yeah,
he had
yeah.
all these characters, just like, I've killed all these, like, these are my, like, let me just tighten it up. Let me have minimal survivors left.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and that's why I'm not. It's not a complaint.
No,
I was
yeah.
just wondering, but like it's yeah, I think it's just the way he wraps up that side of the story and those characters. And then then there's the big fire and explosion. And just before this, actually, there was
Mhm.
a funny. It's not my best quote, but I wanted to
Okay.
shout it out still. Was that Udovich, when he was with Brad Pitt
Yeah.
and Hans Lando during the negotiations,
Yeah.
and he's saying like, "Oh, you're the Aldo the Apache and the Little Man."
Oh yeah.
He's like,
Little
the
man.
German's nickname for me is Little Man. He's so sad.
That's like a
That shit
throwback
killed
to
me.
Zodiac, yo. So, but no, I was gonna mention that. Yeah, that's hilarious. That was funny too.
Yeah, and that because then they have the surrender.
Yeah.
Hans Landa, they go out and then they scalp him,
Mhm.
or no, they do the cut on his
Oh, they do
forehead.
the yeah.
But he's scalping the other guy, and I just wanted to shout out Udovich again because he's like, oh, that sounds like a great deal. Would you take that deal? I'd make that deal. As he's scalping the guy,
Yeah, I
like
know.
it just shoots to him, and he's looking up as he's cutting a dude's scalp off. He's like, yeah, I'd make that deal. So calm, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. I like how they initially they built it up too because we already knew it was what to happen. It's like a cool little moment because like he doesn't know because we went through this thing before with the other guy, like the guy that actually ended up surviving. That was another funny thing too. After you watch the dude get his brains bashed in, like, you gonna tell us what they dude immediately points. There's this many of them.
Yeah,
They have these many weapons.
yeah,
And he did the whole thing of like, "Are you gonna take off that uniform?" So we know that. And then when
yeah,
he said it to Aldo at the end, not Aldo, sorry, when he says to Hans at the end, and he's like,
yeah,
"What are you gonna do? Are you gonna take off that uniform?" You're like, "Oh shit, you know where he's going here." He's like,
yeah.
"I can't let you do that. Can't let you do that. I mean, I want people to know." And
And
then
he's like, "Oh, you're gonna be shot for this. I'm gonna be chewed out. That's fine. I
yeah,
can take that. I'll be all right."
yeah. And then we actually see it. Like the other time we didn't actually see. We actually see him. The
Yeah, that was
prosthetics on
tough.
that look crazy because that shit looks so real.
Ugh. And he's like, his legs are shaking. He's like
Uh,
screaming, like, "Ooh, yeah, that was nasty." But I mean, it's it's so funny. It's just a great way to like end the movie. And then he has that little line, I think this might be my
oh
masterpiece.
yeah,
And I've heard a lot of people like kind of hate on that. Like it's Tarantino like telling us almost like he
yeah,
thinks this is his best movie.
hmm
But I mean, I don't have a problem with that. If you're most proud of this project you're working on,
yeah,
sure, throw that in the movie.
mm,
He's not saying this is the best movie of all time. He's saying I think this is I'm most proud of this one.
yeah.
What's there to hate on about that?
I don't even know if I mean I haven't seen anything him coming out and actually saying that's what that meant, but like
True.
whether it is or whether it isn't, like I think it's not. I don't think it should be something that upsets people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like a little line. Like if it upset you, that people that are saying that probably aren't big fan. They don't love Tarantino that much. They for them to nitpick something like that, it's just
I
like the
guess so.
tiniest little line.
I think it's more what I've heard is people like, "Oh, you're telling us how we're supposed to feel about your movie, and I hate that about this." And I'm like, he's not even saying whether it's good or not. He's saying he thinks it's his masterpiece.
Yeah, no,
If
exactly.
and you're right, it could be possible that he doesn't even mean that at all.
Yeah. But even like even if we put it in other terms, like I always do with basketball and sports, but like if I had a game where I just like dropped a certain amount of points, I was like, I think that might be my best game yet. And people would be like, "How dare you tell us that was your
Yeah,
best game? I saw you
that's
drop."
for us to
Yeah,
decide.
exactly.
Fuck
It's
you.
like what the yeah. That's why I think it's just weird. I'm like, bro, like if he wants to say it's his masterpiece, it's a fucking masterpiece. Maybe M
Yeah.
Night thinks After Earth is his masterpiece. If he thinks, let him think that, bro. Like I don't. Who cares?
um, did you have anything else to say about the ending?
I mean the when the freaking the bear Jew shooting Hitler in the face. Oh my
Oh yeah.
god, just so like that was that Tarantino was like, yeah, we gotta fuck up Hitler in this movie. We if he's gonna be in it, we gotta fuck him up.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like that. You're
No,
right. Like if you're
same.
gonna have him in, like fuck that guy.
Yeah, hundred
Like fuck
percent.
that guy. But then it's what's crazy too is like the whole fucking building is burning down, right?
Yeah.
And they're still shooting these people. Like why? They're gonna die. Why are you doing this?
Hey, it's just an extra thing. It's like again, it's just it's like, nah, this is a bad guy. We're gonna really fuck him up. Where his place is on fire, it's gonna explode, but we're gonna keep
Yeah.
shooting him in the face because this guy fucking sucked.
Like did they care that because they had still have the bomb strapped to their legs,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Was the plan for them to just go in there and die?
That's what I was
Or
thinking too.
or was it like were they supposed to drop it and then get
Yeah.
out. Like, why didn't they try to get out? Were they just like, oh, this is a suicide mission, you know?
I guess so. Like, maybe there was no moment when they looked and realized, oh, the doors are locked, so I guess we're fucked. And then like,
Right.
whatever, we're gonna die anyway. So I guess, but yeah, I assume that the plan was to let them go, like to take off the bombs and like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I didn't feel that the Inglourious Bastards were fucking suicide bombers. I thought they were just gonna fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I did. It's just one of those questions that percolates in my brain.
100%. Oh, there's one little cameo too that I wanted to mention too. It's a very small cameo. The original director, his name is like Enzo. I forget his last name, but he was like the original director of the first Inglourious Basterds. Was just
Yeah.
one of the he was in the theater. They showed him a quick shot, like he's sitting front row, and I just saw that
Nice.
like when I saw the thing. I was like another little nod to the original film.
Okay. Nice.
Good little shout out.
Facts. You got any more facts?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier about the fact that he wrote chapter 1 and 2 10 years earlier before like the release of the movie came out. And I just thought it was interesting too because he added on to that saying that like even though I wrote that 10 years ago, every day that we got onto the set was like a new day of me being like if I want to change something on the fly, I'm going to change it on the fly. Like I'm not so beholden to something that I wrote like 5-10 years ago, even though I feel like the script is like everything I wrote was pretty good. If that day I felt like, I actually don't want you to say that, I want you to say this, he felt he did it. He didn't give any examples, but he said that he changed a decent amount of things on the fly, which I thought was interesting.
No, that is interesting. I mean, that's the whole point of a director,
Yeah.
of being on set. Because, it's like if we compare it to a coach,
Mhm.
you can install plays and have a game plan and all that shit. And then you just send your players out there. And in theory, you could just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But, when you're there and then you see how things are going in the game and you make tweaks and stuff
Yeah.
during a game, it's the same idea, right? The director, he's like, or like maybe they act out the scene and then what you thought was good on paper, you see it in real life and you're like, I kind of feel like I want to make a little change here. It's not exactly what I imagined on paper,
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. What about you?
I
What'd
got
you
one
find?
more.
Okay, go.
Yeah, I got one more. Just that he almost didn't make the movie
Oh.
because they couldn't find anyone to play Hans Landa. He thought that he had written an unplayable character.
Oh shit.
Because if you think about it, right, the character, he speaks French, English, German, and Italian
Yeah.
in the movie all well. And I mean, you can learn these things, but it's got to
Yeah.
be convincing at
No,
least.
for sure.
Um, but also, I mean, we mentioned it, right? Like you have this character that's warm and inviting and kind of like gets you to lower your defenses, and then can also flip on a dime and be powerful and tough. And having someone that can do all of these things, they said they had a really hard time finding. So, but once he saw Christoph Waltz and he auditioned for it, he was like, okay, I got my guy.
I'd definitely be intrigued to see what the whole process of that was. Like if there was
Sure.
anyone that led it before him too. But no, I mean they got the right guy in the end. So
Yeah,
it doesn't matter
exactly.
anyway. I had one more fact that I saw.
Go for
And
it.
it kind of ties into like the first fact of like Brad Pitt he ad libbed the take on the way, like when Hans was interrogating them and he just says buongiorno, like he says like
Oh
saying
yeah,
which means like good day or whatever, and like how like he kind of said it like kind of like funny, like
yeah.
apparently he was supposed to Tarantino said that them talking to him was actually supposed to be convincing. Like their Italian was actually supposed to be good
Oh
initially.
really?
Yeah. But then during the script reading, Brad said it like that, and everyone during the fucking reading started laughing. And Tarantino was like, fuck, man, like I didn't want it to be like that, but I can't get the fact that everybody laughed at it when you did it.
Right.
So now we got to make this fucking unbelievable. Like where it's
Yeah.
like your Italian isn't believable. But he said in the script though, it was supposed to be believable, and the tension just only came from the fact that we knew about the autograph and the shoe. But he's like, all right, I guess we're gonna add the language thing in there because everybody fucking laughed. He was like pissed, but he was like smiling about it. He's just like, I didn't want to change it, but I couldn't stop thinking about how everybody laughed at it.
I feel like it works so well for the character because
Yeah.
the whole time he has this ridiculous accent. And I mean, we never see him speak Italian, and
Yeah.
even the one guy is like, "I don't speak Italian."
Yeah,
And he's like,
exactly.
yeah, that's what I said, third best. And so like I was like, there's no way these guys speak Italian.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of idiots throughout the whole movie. They seem like morons. Like when he's bashing his head of the skull and he's screaming fucking baseball.
Oh,
Movie,
yeah.
Teddy fucking Williams
Yeah.
goes out of the park. He went fucking yard with this. Like these bozos don't speak Italian well. There's no way. So like, and he had this stupid accent. I was like, it has to be like that.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. It
works.
works. It definitely does work. I thought it was funny though, that it bothered Tarantino so much. He's like, I gotta keep it like that.
He probably shot the other one. He's like, okay, have this one convincing just so that he had it. But because he probably until the last day was like, fuck, I don't want to change it.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's all I got. Though.
All right, well, let's get into the filmies.
Let's get into the films. All right, well, if you're new to the show, welcome. This is our Filmies. It's an award part of the show where we give out 6 awards to the parts in the movie. The first award that we have is the Ferris Bueller Award. So this goes out, this is our AKA our Lazy Award. So we give it out to, it could be a director, it could be a writer, it could be actor, anything that we deemed the movie that was lazy. It's all in jest though, so it's not anything that we actually think ruined the movie, just something funny that we wanted to point out. So Scott, what or who was your Ferris Bueller Award?
Yeah, I don't know who gets it. I guess Tarantino, because at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
Aldo gets captured, right?
Yeah.
So Hans, he kills von Hammersmark and he captures Aldo.
Yeah.
And then he gets in the truck and Udovich is there.
Mhm.
How the fuck did they get Udovich? Because, bro, the plan was for Aldo and his 2 other guys to go into the theater and blow it up.
Yeah.
Udovich could have been fucking back in the States. Why was he anywhere near them? How did they know that he was going to be there? How did they know where he was? How did they pick him up? We never got a scene of that. So my lazy award goes to Tarantino for not putting in a scene of them capturing Udovich. How the fuck did they get Udovich?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. I didn't even
He's
realize
just
that.
there on the truck.
Yeah,
and I'm
no,
like,
that's
where?
true.
How did they get this guy? The whole bastards have been evading the German troops for the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right. They're all talking about how all these fucking guys are killing us and we can't get them. They just captured this guy somehow and didn't even tell us how. What the hell?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. That's so true because I just accepted it. I don't know if I was just thinking that I was like, oh, he was outside or something, like giving watch, but it's not like they have walkie talkies and shit. Like there was none of that. And then yeah, that's crazy. That's good. I didn't even notice that.
That's what lazy.
I
I
didn't
was
even
just,
notice that.
how is this guy here?
That's good. That's
Tell
good.
me.
I
They
can't
didn't tell
tell
me,
you.
and that's lazy.
That's lazy. All right, that's fair. That's fair. my lazy word goes to Aldo, and it's because he's the one that came up with that mountain climbing story. And to me, it's just it's a lazy ass story. Like you could think of a better story than that, especially considering where they are and considering that like as they're wrapping this up, you're not thinking like we're gonna say that it was a mountain climbing accident when we have this fresh like where did she go? Like where what so
But that's what I mean. That these guys are bozos,
Yes.
man. They're fucking idiots. He's just like, I don't know. You fell down a mountain.
Yeah.
Germans love that shit.
Yeah.
Like she could have been riding a bike.
Yeah.
She could have just fell down the stairs.
what I'm
Like there's
saying.
so many more simple things. Great pick.
That's what I'm saying. The mountain climbing was so extreme. I was like, bro, think of a better lie, dog. Like, I know the premiere is tonight, but just sit on it for like 5 minutes. I swear you'll find you'll think of something better. Just
While he's like sticking his finger in her bullet leg. Oh, dude, that was. I was squirming
that was
watching that. I
nasty.
was like, take your fucking finger out of her leg, man. Oh, I hated that.
Messed up. That's messed up.
Good lazy award though.
Thank you. The next award we have is fit check. So self-explanatory. What was your best or worst best fit of the movie?
I gave it to Goebbels' translator, and
Okay.
I guess his wife or like he would, like you said, there was this shot of him smashing,
Yeah.
and he's like and he's
Yeah.
making this funny noise. Anyways, I gave it to her at that like dinner or lunch or whatever when
Yeah.
Hans comes up. She's got a black dress on. Well, I guess it's a dress. She's sitting down the whole time.
Yeah.
But a black shirt,
Mm-hmm.
a cheetah, but she got a cheetah like jacket over top, and the fucking hat or headdress or whatever
Yeah.
is also cheetah, but it's got like the whiskers and the eyes, like it's like a cheetah head. Is fucking sick.
No, that was hard. That was a hard outfit. At first, I didn't know what you're talking about, and I was like, because I was like translator, because I think that's just his wife translating.
Is it? Maybe.
Because why else would she imagine
know.
them smashing?
Well, I think he was just like because like her face, she doesn't look like she's into it.
Yeah, I guess that's
So
true.
I think it was just like she's his translator, and because he has all this power, he just kind of makes
Yeah,
her.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe. But
But
no,
it
that's
could be his wife. I don't know.
that is a good fit though. That was almost my fit. I changed the last second just because I
Okay,
was
that's
like,
fine.
I switched the last second. That is a good fit because it stands out. Because everyone else is just wearing military stuff for the most part. So
Yeah.
So like okay, like that's a clean out uniform or whatever it is. You're pretending to be Germans. You're wearing Nazi stuff. So I'm definitely not gonna give that a fit check.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of wild.
Yeah, the big ass swastika. It looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, we're not. That's not that kind of podcast.
Jesus Christ,
sorry to
no.
disappoint if you.
Yeah. If you're an alt-right Nazi, sorry.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint. Yeah. My fit check went to Bridget Von Hammersmark. So
She had some good ones.
it was at the bar scene. Like I don't know, like I think it was just the kind of like the swagger that came along with the fit too, because they come downstairs, like everyone's like playing their games and they all like kind of like, oh, who the heck is that? And she's like, hey, come, they're my friends. Like they're with me. She's got the brown skirt. We don't really see the skirt till later when they're like he's poking her leg. So I was like waiting to see like what was the bottom part. She's wearing the brown skirt. She kind of got like a tan undershirt with, and the cool part is like there's like little folds like at the front part, like at the collar part. She had the brown jacket, and then there's the fedora with the feather on the top.
Yeah, that was clean, bro.
That
Because
was
she had the
hard.
card.
Yeah,
She had the
tucked
card in
in.
it the whole time. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
hard. That was hard.
That's why
Everyone else was like these lamos
That's
with it
what I'm
on their
saying.
forehead. She was like, "Nah, I'm leveled up. I'm not putting it on my forehead. I got a little spot on my hat for it." Yeah,
That's
that
what
was
I'm
clean.
saying. And it's just like you knew she was important. Everyone else in the room, she's dressed so differently. She just she and then she had some like star earrings too. I noticed that when I went back, she was just
Hair on fleek and
Oh,
makeup
yeah.
on fleek. Like we knew she was a star.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's the
Good
first time
pick.
we both had two female fit checks like at the same time.
Really?
At the same time, probably. I don't know.
Huh,
It's
maybe.
not a certified or anything. I'm not reaching that hard, but
Yeah, chill.
I think
they
it's
were the
just-
same gender. All right, that's a certified.
It's just an observation I made. Just observation.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, so our next award is the Six Man, aka our Nas Reed Award. So this is someone that showed out. They didn't necessarily have the biggest role, but we want to give them some praise. So who is your Six Man, Scott?
My sixth man is Donnie Donowitz, the
Okay.
Bear Jew.
Yeah.
Like one, that name is tough.
Yeah, it is
The
tough.
Bear Jew, that's pretty hard. And we talked about his reveal, like when he's tapping the
Yeah.
bat. That was hard too. But he was also bad enough for that to become legend throughout the whole
Yeah.
German ranks. Like it got up to Hitler.
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
they were like, no, don't call this nigga the Bear Jew. He's too fucking like that. Like, do you know how hard you have to be
I know.
to be for Hitler to be like, no, don't even say this man's name. This guy's like Voldemort.
That's
He-
what I was gonna say.
yeah, he was nasty. And the last reason is just like when he actually beat the shit out of that dude and he does the Teddy fucking Williams,
Oh yeah.
knocks it out of the park, like in his Boston accent. He's just going
Yeah.
ham. It's great.
That dude could have been in freaking Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, exactly. I could have been, imagine that was Casey Affleck,
Oh
bro.
my
It would have been great.
No, that's a great pick. That is a really great pick. He's freaking hilarious. It's such a memorable character too. And again, like you said,
Yeah.
Bear Jew is such a hard name. Like him and Hugo, like Hugo got his own like little like freaking narration from Samuel Jackson on his background story. Which
Yeah.
is another thing too. I just want to add that the funny part of like when they're recruiting him, and then just the way that Brad like approaches him, where it's just like, I heard you've been killing Nazis like amateur. How would you like to go pro? Like he's a
Yeah,
fucking
that was
sports
hard.
agent. I was like, oh, that's hard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Aldo, but this is like you're in war and you're making these little references to like sports and stuff. Like this character is amazing, and Brad Pitt is just dripping in that. Because basically, when you think about it, Aldo is Brad Pitt. Like
Yeah.
he's just like this movie star that's just dripping in aura,
Yeah.
and he's so like that's what Brad Pitt is perfect for. And he's his voice, his delivery on each of the lines throughout the movie, so good.
Oh,
It just
yeah.
makes it so great. Yeah. We're here to see if you'd like to go pro. So good.
But no, Bear Jew though, that's a great pick. I like that
The
pick.
Bear
The
Jew.
Bear Jew. My sixth man goes to Lieutenant Archie Hickox. I think that's how you say his
Okay.
last name, right?
Yeah, nice.
And I don't know. I just thought he was so like suave. Like when we first and like this guy comes in like a hand behind his back, like talking to freaking Mike Myers' character. And he's like, "What are we drinking to, sir?" He's like, "Down with Hitler." All the way down, sir.
All the way down. Yeah.
All the way down. And then there's a couple lines, sir. And there's the other one too, when he's like, "Well, if this is it, old boy, I hope you don't mind me going out with the Kings." That was kind of hard too. He starts smoking, and he's like, "There's a special rung in hell for those who waste good scotch. Seeing as I may be wrapping up to the door momentarily, I must say, damn good stuff, sir. Good stuff." Man wants to die, and he's
yeah, I know, dude. Great pick. That scene is amazing.
Yeah,
and he's a big reason for it. Like
Oh,
he comes in, and we're like, oh, he's gonna be an integral part of the movie. He dies right away.
yeah.
but like he's so great in that scene, and the way he's talking to Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
And like he comes in, makes his drink, and he's talking about film. Like you're right, he's very suave.
Yeah.
The way he's talking about film and German films and different directors and all this shit. And then he gets into that scene, and he's just incredible. Like he seems so comfortable when they're asking him. They're like, "Oh, where are you from? You know, why do you sound like that?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm from in the mountains." And this is what everybody sounds like. He seems so calm.
Yeah.
But then once his cover's blown, he doesn't even switch
That's
up.
what I'm
He's like,
saying. He's still
I'm about
calm.
to die. Let me down this scotch and blow this man's balls off. Let's do it.
And he gives the guy props because he's the one that said, "Get that scotch." So he's sipping and he's like, "Damn, that's good stuff. You pick good shit. You're about to shoot me in the balls, but I got to give it to you. This is some good shit."
Yeah, he was almost my sixth man too. That's a great pick.
No, he's just because I was like, he's such a small role too. I was like, I had to give him something because I was like, I don't know what else. I couldn't give him fit check, like I said, so I had to give him some love in that. He was hilarious.
I'm really glad that you picked it, because I was picking between Eli Roth and Michael Fassbender. I was like, these two characters are great, and unfortunately we didn't pick the same one, but that means that they both got love. So
No, 100%.
I'm glad you picked them.
So our next one is the best quote. So who had your best quote or your favorite quote in the movie?
You kind of shouted it out right at the start.
Okay.
I gave it to Aldo in that first monologue when we're meeting the bastards. He's got a bunch of great lines in there, but the one that I chose is, "We're gonna be doing one thing and one thing only: killing Nazis."
Yeah.
And like it gets me fired up. I'm like, I fucking love these guys. Pitt's delivery is fucking incredible. I just love he's amazing in this movie. I love it. The delivery's great. But the biggest reason I picked this, think about this, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing one thing and one thing only. I was like, are Kanye and Hove about to fucking jump in here?
Shit.
And they're going to fucking Paris, bro.
You're
They're going to
right.
France. I was like, are we about to get some fucking are we about to get niggas in Paris out here?
Oh my goodness.
Like, bro, there's got to be an edit. Like, we're gonna be doing one thing and one thing only:
Is that the
killing
sample?
Nazis. Boop boop. Boop.
Is that because that movie? The movie came out before the song, though.
Yeah, I looked it up. Yeah, the song came out in 2011.
Yeah,
and the movie came out in 2000.
Oh, so you actually looked it up?
But I went to I just clicked on the song, and I was like, no, it's not it. Because they also say in the song, it's like, we're here for one song and one song.
Oh yeah, that's
not
true.
one thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Mandela.
It's not the same thing, but
I wanted it to work.
But I mean, dude, an edit of that would be so perfect, bro. It's fucking amazing.
No, 100%. Yeah, someone could just do the edit. I got them saying that, and then show them going on a killing spree and just play niggas in Paris over top of it.
And they're going to France. It's perfect.
No, 100%.
Bastards in Paris. It made me think of it right away. I was like, that's got to be my line.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even make that connection until you said it again. You know, when you said think about it, and then you said, I was like, oh shit, that's good. That's good. I like that. I mean,
what's yours? Or go ahead if you.
No, I was just gonna say it's ironic because throughout the movie they didn't want niggas in Paris. They didn't even want them. They didn't even want them using the whole. You work in the projector.
Don't touch the goddamn film reel. All right. Get him the fuck out of here.
And this actually ties in because my quote goes to Dr. Joseph Goebbels, like the guy that's the director, right?
Yeah.
His first line is, "It's only the offspring of the slaves that allow Americans to be competitive athletically, American. I'm just laughing through it.
Yeah,
American
yeah.
Olympic gold can be measured in Negro sweat, and then just a title card of his name, and I'm just dying because I'm like, that's how we get introduced to him.
I like we get introduced. We're like, okay, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like instantly, like that's the first thing that we need to know is because I feel like when you introduce a character, you're always like kind of um equal on
Yeah,
them,
you're
right? You're
level
like, I
ground.
don't know if
Yeah,
I like this guy. I don't know if I hate this guy. But then as you start with that, and we're like, okay, no, this guy sucks.
yeah,
But I
100.
mean, it works with the times,
Oh,
and there was the
100%.
whole King Kong thing.
Oh yeah.
Fucking what's with Tarantino and this commentary on the black experience?
I mean, I guess like you said, it makes it authentic. The King Kong thing is just like a little thing added in there, but
Yeah,
them being like the racism that they had, it is on point
right.
with the times. But I just thought it was funny too, like because I didn't notice it the first time, and I think it's just a funny contrast of just him saying that American gold can be measured in Negro sweat, and then it's him smiling, and then there's like a little title card. I'm like, okay, well, we know this character, wow, what he's like. They don't
That's such
even,
a Tarantino thing, man. Like to throw in a little bar and then pause the whole movie with a
yeah.
title card. Like that's such a Tarantino thing. It's so
Oh,
great.
100%. We got two more awards. So second last one is best scene. So what was your favorite scene in the movie?
I had a lot of trouble. A
Yeah,
lot
it's a
of trouble
tough.
picking this one. It's a tough one, but ultimately I chose the bar scene, the
Okay.
basement bar scene.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked a lot about it. I don't have to say anymore, but I remember the first time I watched this movie, and this is what I remember the most.
Yeah.
It's this in the opening scene,
Mhm.
but like this one, like when the major comes from around the corner, when we realize he's there, and then they're questioning their Germanness,
Yeah.
like their authenticity. It's just like the tension is through the roof,
Oh
and
yeah.
like I'm sweating, my cheeks are clenched. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. We talked about how unpredictable this movie is. I'm like, I have no idea where this is going, but some shit is about to go down, and it changes the whole story of the movie.
Oh
Like
yeah.
this is what makes the whole Italian switch with Christoph Waltz. And if no one blew up in there, then he wouldn't have known about von Hammersmark either. So it changes everything. It's so pivotal, and your six man is leading the way, and it's just a great scene.
100%. And Scott, guess what?
Hey,
That's my favorite scene too. Yeah,
let's
let's go. I
go!
I had this.
Nice.
To me, it was the same thing as you. It's like, is it the beginning scene or is it this scene?
Yeah,
Like, not
yeah.
saying that there was not, but if we're talking about best scene, it's like, oh, that's tough. Like the opening scene was so good, but this bar
Mhm.
scene also was just, it was just so powerful. And I remember even Brad saying in it too, like he was giving props to Tarantino. He's like, how many people can have like a 30-minute scene just in one spot? Like you did the opening scene, like you start your movie off and you just have us stuck in this house for such a long period of time, and then that bar scene, he's like, it's like 20 to 30 minutes. Like most people might be losing interest, but like what's going on is
Mhm.
so interesting. You're not even thinking about like, damn, they've been in this one spot for so long because it's a long
Yeah,
scene, but it's
it
so
is.
good.
I mean, you're right. This is what Tarantino's so good at. That if you think of like Hateful Eight, that whole
Oh
movie takes
yeah,
place in one house.
exactly.
It's like he writes plays basically.
Yeah.
Like where you're stuck in one setting. I mean, you change a little bit if it's a play, but for the most part, you're in one spot, and like the writing is just so good, and everything it just leads so perfectly from one sequence to the next, and everything makes sense. Like when von Hammersmark is playing the game with those soldiers,
Yeah.
like right when we walk in, and then our guys are on high alert. They're like, "Oh shit, there aren't supposed to be any Germans here."
Mhm.
And then they go and sit down, and then the whole thing gets ratcheted up once they start to question their alliances, and like you're just on the edge of your seat the entire
Yeah,
time.
man.
It's so good.
It's so good. Yeah, it's just, yeah, no, I mean that's why it's both of our best scenes
Yeah.
because it's just, yeah, it's just so memorable. There's just so much going on because, like you said, like it starts off like there's so many different aspects of it in just that one scene. Like at first it's calm. There's the card games, then the one guy's checking him, the other guy's checking him, and then the shootout happens, and then there's that scene we like with Aldo and the guy that survived. Like that's
Yeah,
it. That's a
true.
scene in itself, and it's still in that same location. So it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot, and it's just great.
And we get a massive shootout.
Yeah, no,
Throw
exactly.
that in there
Yeah,
too. We
classic
don't get that in the
Tarantino.
opening scene.
That's true. Yeah, you get your action like halfway, almost more than halfway through the movie. It's crazy action to scene sequence.
It's got everything.
Just
So
got
good.
everything. Last but not least, we have our MVP. So Scott, who is your MVP of this movie?
I gave mine to Christoph Waltz.
Okay.
I talked about it earlier that like the movie might not have gotten made without him. You know, because he played such a unplayable character. To quote Tarantino. I mean, we talked about it all throughout the movie. He's light and warm when he has to be, but then he's also imposing and powerful, and he plays both so well. And the opening scene and when he's in the room with Bridget with von Hammersmark, and like those two scenes, he carries so much weight. He's carrying both scenes, and he's killing it every single time. When he's with Shoshana and they're eating that pastry, we don't know if he knows, and he just every little thing that he does in his physical acting, like at his face, like I said at the first scene, right when his face changes, and he's like, "No, you're hiding enemies of the state, are you not?" And then he's like, "Oh shit, no, this guy's serious." Like his whole performance. I mean, he won the Oscar for it. It's just me giving him my fucking MVP means nothing to him, but he deserves it.
That's what you think now. It means the world to him. You don't know that.
I hope so.
You don't know that, but
hey, shouts to you, Christoph Waltz. Good job.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know he listens, bro. You don't know.
He might. Hey, I can almost guarantee he doesn't, but he might.
It's a really great pick. And Scott, guess what?
Is that another certified?
That's another certified. We're back, baby. We're back.
We
back.
are so back.
We're
so back.
Oh my goodness, it feels good. We went on such a streak, man. We're back. We're back. But again, we talked about him throughout as we were talking about him throughout the movie, I was like, we both definitely picked him as our MVP.
I thought that, but I also love Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
he was
that's true.
So
You were
good in his
swaying
role
me
too.
You were swaying me a little bit where you're like, he might pick Pitt. And also it's like, I don't think anyone would be mad if we picked Tarantino also too.
Exactly.
So it's just like, but it's like, I was like, I think he's leaning there though. But yeah, to reiterate all the things you just said, it's like you said, it's the opening scene, the strudel scene, the shoe scene. Like he dominates other parts of the movie too, where there's all these different things. It's just there's so many, like every scene he's in, it's like it's he's not in a scene, he's just chilling. You know what I mean? He's not a background seat character. If he's in the scene, he's dominating the scene. You know what I mean? He's one of the greatest villains you could say in films, at least movies I've seen. Like when people talk about great villains performances, like the first thing that at least that comes to my mind, and just the top of my head, you think Heath Ledger and you think of this. And there's others. Yeah. There's definitely others, but it's just such a great performance.
That's really cool too. Like, because we were talking about before, like the opening scene Hall of Fame, and Dark Knight also has a great opening scene, and it's led by the villain.
Yeah, it's true.
So like two kind of parallels there, but yeah, this guy just murders all. You're right. Like anytime he's on screen, it's about him. Yeah. And like the crazy thing is that he won like supporting actor for this. I was like, who's the main character?
Yeah,
I guess
know.
It's Aldo, but
that's a tough thing too, because you don't see like. You almost, the way you treat, like, I feel like most people look at like leading characters like, what's the first person we see? We're assuming that's our main character. And he stays within the movie for the whole time. It's like, is it by screen time maybe? Maybe they just do it by screen time. But even then, it doesn't feel like Aldo has more screen time than him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because Aldo's like the good guy and he's the villain.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's stupid.
Yeah, it is goofy. But hey, whatever. He still got his props for it, regardless.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and he earned it all. You're right, like
100%,
all-time performance for an all-time character. Like Tarantino wrote him a great character. And he just murdered it, and so good,
so good.
Okay, well then, great. Look at how many certifieds was that? We got MVP, scene,
and that's it. There's just two.
We got two.
That's not just it. That's enough because we didn't have any for a while. So I'd be happy if it was one.
Did you hear that? Film family, we are back.
We're back.
We're back. And on that note, we're out because that's it for us. But thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Be sure to follow us on wherever you're listening to this. Also on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at the Film Room Pod. Feel free to leave us a review if you liked it or hated it. But regardless, make it 5 stars. You can make a 5-star review and then say you hated it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Actually,
that would be awesome.
I'd actually really like that. Yeah, because it's funny. Because if you're doing that clearly, you like us. Otherwise, you wouldn't even.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
it's like a funny bit.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, do that. Please go ahead and do that. That'd be great. And I'll pass it over to Dion. Go ahead. Take us home.
Remember, the American Olympic goals can be measured in Negro sweat.
Oh no.
And the success of this podcast can be measured the same. Peace out.
Jesus Christ.